yeah, baby. Yeah, we've been here for a minute. We had a good one today, though. We had a great one today, man. On the 13th, I'll be headed back. Yep, then I'll be in. Yep. Not too much. Yep, not too much. Not too much. Yeah. I'm just getting ready to start. I'm getting ready to start. Peace, and love to everybody. Everybody. I'm still in my city of Flint. Got about a week left, and I'll be back in AZ. Then I'll be in Sacramento. But give me one more second. What he say? Okay. Peace, Yolanda. Is that my elementary friend? Peace, Yolanda. Peace and love and condolences, to your family and your sister. If I haven't, I'm a private person. I don't like to say too much on social media, because I lost my brother as well. So I definitely understand how you feel. But my condolences and my heart and my prayers are with you. Anything you need, you can call me because things don't get easier. We have to deal with it. So I give honor to you and the memory of your sister. She live on in your heart. But give me 1 second, y'all. We're going to get to it. I got to get the rest of these prints. I want to show y'all some of my mother artwork. I got a lot of this stuff in prints. These are copies of her original work. And when I get back to AZ, I got a lot more of my mother artwork. And if everything go right, I'm going to be able to get a lot of artifacts from the storage unit that my family had in Florida. But it's going through some probate stuff right now. So if everything works, a lot of the artifacts I have in the back and a lot of stuff in the back, I have for our culture. But when people come on my page with that religious stuff and all that, I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna block you. If you jump on my page with all that, this and that, if you don't believe in this, we're not dealing with that. You will be blocked. So please remove yourself if you come with any of that stuff. If you come with any of that stuff saying this is better than that, I'm gonna block you. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna waste my energy. And please don't waste your energy. It shows the aptitude of you if you are adult, that you would jump on somebody's page and you can be doing your own thing. So give me a second. But before I get into what I want to speak on, I just want to show some pieces of art that I have. I'm shipping a lot off, so I said I would be remiss if I didn't show it again. And so this is a copy of one piece of my mother artwork. I don't talk about prices in here, but if you're serious, you know how to get with me, This is one piece of artwork, and these are copies, And these are all made by my mother with her hand. She's not only an artist, she teach art. Been a teacher. My mother and father have been dignitaries in the city of Flint for years. My dad been an executive director for Genesee County, so everybody know what Meals on Wheels and Genesee, not Land Bank, but G Card, all that. They know who my father is. My parents been business owners ever since I was little, and my story is not everyone's story. I don't come from poverty, even though we lived in the city of Flint, Michigan. I grew up with my mother and my father. They used to call us the Hustables when we was in the hood. All my friends. And I tell everyone, everybody's story is not the same just because we're from a certain area and we do certain things. And this is all handmade artwork from my mother, Inez Goodman Bay. This one, I think she said she did in with charcoal, if I'm not mistaken. This one right here, she did with charcoal, if I'm not mistaken. That one in charcoal. And this one, and so I got, like I said, I always got my college. They say, "Oh, we can't wait till you get on School Chic and Kick. We're gonna show you how to take your science to a next level, and you don't need a lot of people you be asking about. They're not gonna support and help. Well, gratitude, but I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I have, well, I know a lot of people know I'm part of alumni Grand Canyon University, and I've met a lot of guys that know IT. I know a lady that's a what she call it? She said she's a PR lady, a misnomer Chinese lady I met. She works for the news, and she was like, you just need a PR person to set you up the right way. She said your information and what you have, people can try to steal it, but they're gonna know it's not original because they can't explain it like you do. She was like, you just need a PR person and a person that can set your social media up and set your web pages up where it's going to be monetized because I'm already monetized anyway. But she said, once your brothers figure this out or you get with someone, you're going to be able to take it to the next level. And I do good things in good life. I do good business to where I say it's only one way the message and the resurrection can be spread if we use this media to do it. You know? This is called Grandpa and Me. And these are all prints. And this other one is Grandma and Me. And then I had a couple, like I said, I'm not gonna show all the jewelry. I just had a couple pieces and a lot of stuff. Everything that you see that I have on is custom. Either my mom make it or my Empress make it. And we do a lot of custom pieces, and they make the earrings, to match it. All our turbans, everything I have on, everything is in-house. That's why I be telling Moors, if we support our culture and our community, we can have everything. Why? Because we have the funds. We just giving it away. I don't want to put all this out, but y'all see, I got a lot, man. And these are all natural beads. A lot of the beads come from the motherland. None of my beads are not off Amazon or nothing like that. My beads come from the motherland. One of my friends, she have her own African store on Ballinger Road. Anybody in Flint, y'all know where it's at. Before Corona. And a lot of the stuff I get, shea butter, a lot of things, it comes from the motherland. A lot of the tunics that I get, they make them in the community. That's why I do good business. But with that being said, I hope people here to learn and not to be disrespectful. I always ask people if you like the teachings, you can give a donation to our temple and school. It's all in my bio. If you don't want to give a donation, that's fine. It's not contingent on you giving a donation. I would hope you do. It would be nice. And then you would leave your email so I can help you build your library. And then as we dealing with each other, I'll be sending you gifts because I'm a gift giver. If anyone that know me personally, all my muftis, of anyone else, children, they know I'm a gift giver. All my friends, they be like, oh, he's a gift giver. Why? Because that's just who I am. That's just that's just me, you know? And I ain't gonna let nobody tell me what to do or what not to do. That's why I'm able to be in Arizona and be a map and a guide for all people, you know, no matter what color they are. That's why I don't accept and tolerate disrespect on social media. I know the only people that's gonna disrespect me in real well on social media is a troll. Because no matter if you melanated per se or any other melanation, if you know me in real life, you know my heart is pure. You know, and that be the insane part of things when you see trolls on social media. Like, my heart is pure. I done helped just as many people that look like me that don't look like me. Why? Especially when it comes to children. Like, when I'm in the city of Flint, I go to the Thumb Correctional Facilities. The Thumb Correctional Facilities is a lockup. I done mentored science, more science, to brothers that thought they was Aryan Nation. When I break down that Quran, when I said I know what brotherhood and what oath you under. And then they say, well, you're not black, Sheik. And they get to crying when I break that wisdom down because it's a respect level. It's an understanding. I don't operate on no color side. I'm not arguing with someone that got their knockoff Jordans from the gas station and you got your knockoff Jordans from the hood store and you say one is better than the other. I can take both of them and crumble them up as Fuji does when it comes to man-made religion, when it comes to the origin. Why? Because I've done this in academia. That's why I can stand on what I'm saying and be, how can I say, sincere and never be sincerely wrong. Why? Because I've already been challenged. I already done my oral and my written dissertations. So no one can sit up here and tell me that. Because if brothers is so great and they say they the beginning and everything and we create everything, why brothers don't have nothing? Why brothers on welfare? Why brothers right now, they can't take care of themselves and most of them, they woman got a job. And then they talk about the man this. And why both of them living on Section 8 and welfare. You can't tell me no different. And Medicaid. You can't tell me no different. Own nothing. So when we talk about these things and when we say this stuff and we so smart and we so have so much wisdom, what's being produced? When I tell people, man, I've been doing this for a minute. Me and my muftis, we own 10 acres in Kingsman, Arizona. We're trying to do a co-op, like a greenhouse with brothers and sisters. We can build on 60% of our land. Now, me and my mufti, y'all heard me on a phone call earlier this morning doing a deal. Me and my muftis, we getting ready to get some more land in Arizona, like off the grid per se, but it's a community close by. We're gonna have our structure on it and have our four-wheelers, on 4 acres. Well, one of them is like 2.5 right by each other. Then we got another lot, it's 2.5. And it's already ready to be, put your cement base, your base down. These are the things that we do. And with our 10 acres, we're trying to bring people together so we can show people how to garden. I know people that know how to garden. I know where I get natural mullein, all the herbs and everything I can get from sour gumball. A lot of people don't know what that is. That's an African healing agent. It's a plant and a lot of exotic plants. Like when they call certain things weeds and you don't really know what weeds are, a lot of them are healing agents. Just like dandelion. Dandelion is a healing agent. It's just flat out. But you will say, oh, this is a weed. I can show you where mullein grow on the edge of the highway. You ride past it right now every day. Especially if you're in Flint, you ride right past mullein every day. I'll be cracking up. I'm like, that's mullein. That's mullein. For anybody that smoke, I'll be like, that's mullein. I could take you right on the highway and take you where I'll be walking at is mullein growing. People are like, how do you know this? Because I'm into nature. This is what I do. When you love and my heart is pure, the nature know your heart is pure. A bee will land on you and won't sting you. I'm just telling you what it is. So a lot of us brothers and sisters, I said, you don't get wisdom and you don't acquire understanding and then separate yourself. Peace, noble Moso. I said, we don't do that to ourselves. Because I tell people religion can be the way. If religion separating us, mothers and fathers stop talking to each other because they religious belie system. It's over 40 some thousand different Christian sects. And then when a lot of our Christian brothers, when they talk about being a Christian made you free, no, it didn't. When you read the Protestant history, just because you was baptized and got some religion certificate being a Christian and try to take that to court, you was just a baptized or a Christian slave, with all due respect. And it's no disrespect when we're talking about in that context. And then I have no punches, even on the Islam side. A lot of our brothers really don't know because they don't know the language. When I talk about the Nabatean library and when I deal with the origin, a lot of people don't know. Well, and see, I don't look at negative things. Everything, and see, and people be making my point every time I'm saying. Somebody was telling me about this earlier. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. How people take things out of context. Too bad we can't even reach our own families. Why? Because your family isn't your friend. Look at the etymology of the word friend. Watch this now. Watch this. How we combat that. Houdini asks, how many of us have them? Yeah, that's a song. Yeah, I get the song. But what we do, we take the negative connotation of everything and put that on us instead of like the ish and the positive connotation, like the more ish and what makes us more ish, because the way we love each other, the way we dress, the way we identify, the way we deal with true sheiks, the way we are how can I say, selected, not elected. We selected our wisdom and understanding. And we shouldn't take the negative connotation of everything because everything has a dual blade. Everything has double meaning. So I understand what people be saying, but I say if all we're going to talk about is the negative aspect, then we still are not at a perfected place. We're still not at that place. And that's what I tell people. I understand all the negative. It's so much negative in the world. But to combat that, we need to show the good in it. Because that's what we talk about, the bad. The bad is put out there. But what about the positive aspect in it? When we talk about family, when we talk about these things. Because my family, I know my family love me. They don't have to believe nothing I say, but I know my family love me and want the best for me. So now we have to talk about what is love to you. Because once again, a belief system, I'm not trying to convert no one or to no belief system. That's not my mission. And so I get what people be saying, but from the positive connotation, I deal with family. Most of my friends, yeah, we family, you know? You know? You know? All my friends is family. That's what I always be. I said the higher self is peace. When even the Buddha aspect, it's a level of peace. That's why I say it's never was a time when man was not. Time. It's so much of the basic essence that, when I say it's not all book science. It's just like when a person asks me, well, why certain people like this? It's a plethora of things. We can say a young man may be struggling. He may not have a father, conditioning, may not be eating right, may not conceive good. A whole bunch of contingents on that. It's never one thing until you analyze it, you know, you know. And so that's what I'm here to always teach as a brother, as a friend, and be like, listen, man, it's way more than what we're doing on the social media. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's way more on this media than, it's way more than this social media stuff. When people want to be debating and saying, well, Moors do this and confusing people. It's only one science temple. It's only one prophet. It's only one way the temple is set up. I can't recreate the Moorish Science Temple of America. I have my own temple and school, which is the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. We have our own fraternal order. We have our own charter. We have our bylaws and how the BBT believe. Am I part of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Yes, I am. Do it make a lot of people upset? Yes, because I stand alone, because I'm like a lion. I defend myself by myself. No one's going to tell me what to do. I don't care what it is. That's why I have my own temple and school. And when people come with the Fugazi, I'm going to clear it up in 1.2 seconds. regardless if you like me or not. Makes me no different. Why? Because my family love me. And my family know I'm doing right. And when I'm doing up right, man, I'm going to stand for it. Regardless if it's popular or not, I'm going to stand for it. That's what I tell people. If people knew me and see me in Arizona, you'll see me with all the kids. If people follow me for years, which people be doing, they would have seen me taking almost 50-some kids to all the Phoenix Suns games in Arizona. Been doing it for years. You can look me up on YouTube on a lot of my old videos. I'm at the games with all the youth under my organization. You can see me at the West Valley Health Summit, donating to battered women and autistic kids each year at the West Valley Health Summit. You know, I'm part of the autistic community in Arizona. That's why I be laughing. I be like, man, like really? Like the audacity of people when they don't do your background check and they'll be like, well, this brother righteous. You know? That's why I said I'm not on here to try to prove no one wrong. I'm proving the Creator right. The Creator said your people just going to have a front seat and watch because you've been saying how they can support. So you love them just like you know certain people love you, but we are stiff-necked people. And it's okay because people can do whatever they want with their finances, with their time. They can come on social media and watch me all the time and go to church and give their money to the church and complain about this and ask me 15 questions and do the total opposite. No, I'm telling the truth. No, I've gathered and compiled 15 books. No, I have a library with over 1 million books and still don't support. And it's okay. Everything about me, I had a building already. I teach Wing Chun. I know people that have athletics, so that's trainers. My noble Malik Mufti is a high school coach, boys and girls. My noble Lamarck Barclay Bay is a pro referee, both in Sacramento. You know? He said, I come from a women's shelter in Dallas, Texas. Genesis Women's Shelter. I do for them every year. They help my mother when she needed. And I work for a place called Youth Development Institution with kids and girls from all different backgrounds. And Durex, if I'm saying that name correctly, they had a lot of those live-in facilities in all around Arizona. They got a big one in Scottsdale. But that's my profession. I worked in girls' shelters, you know, where a lot of the stuff is trauma. I can tell y'all the reason why I had to do my own thing and create my own thing and be small but mighty, because I know the system. And she said, yes, we live there. See? Everybody know I be telling the truth. And so I know how these systems do. I know how to get that. I know how they want that insurance money, and I know how to keep them kids doped up. I know how them kids ain't no recovery. How? Because I did it. I worked there. I'm telling you. And then I worked for Ohana Corporation, when we went to all those facilities, because I had 20-some clients all through the state of Arizona. I used to be on the Indian Reserve all over there, and I had to be going to see my clients. A lot of them I got real close with. Some of them got adopted. Some of them went back to this, that, and the other. But I know that's what I be telling people. I'm like, and I know how that system is. And I know it's really to me, it's how can I say, no recovery per se. It's no love. It's a system. Because in that system, if you wasn't a supervisor or a manager like me, it's all low income. So the person that might be coming to see you, that might have 20-some clients, they might be there for a minute and gone. You know, a lot of those kids don't get adopted because they don't tell them all the trauma that they had or the medicine that they had. And so it'd be hard to adopt a lot of these kids. And then a lot of these kids are on so many different medicines, depressants, this and that and the other. You will get a young kid that may be 12 on 15 different medicines. So you got to imagine the mental and the how can I say, the damage that not only trauma, but then these drugs have done on this undeveloped mind. You got to imagine what's going on. You said, well, I was on both and missed the message. I'm a black belt in karate as well. You say you're a black belt, watch this. Hold on, watch this. These old. These old. I ain't gonna pull them all out, but these old. These real old. You know what I'm saying? What you say? And then my baby brother that passed, he when he was 12, he was like third time master, all type of stuff. But then when I had my temple in Arizona, I had my temple for, I had it for a minute, but I had to shut it down. You know, I had a whole bunch of old men in there that was just doing things wrong. I set it down. I shut it down. You know, I shut it all the way down. I'm like, cause I don't do things wrong. My dad would come down here and tell you. I had my metaphysical temple. I used to teach through the week. I used to have a workout. We used to do workout, and then I used to have the sensei come and teach sticky hands, aka Wing Chun, just for small donations. And y'all can see I used to have it all on YouTube. I still got our uniforms back in Arizona. And so I used to do all this stuff, boxing and everything, you know, working with the bow staffs and everything. And so I have connections because people love me, you know. And when I had my building in Arizona, I had all these people coming, you know. But then like I said, I got with some Moors and they wouldn't right, I shut it down, you know, you know. So it's what it is. A lot of stuff I don't talk about, a lot of stuff I don't share. Why? Because if I show y'all the wooden dummy, how I work the wooden dummy, you know what I mean? You'll be like, damn, I ain't know she know how to do that. You know? Man, I was in Boy Scouts, everything. My little brother was in Boy Scouts. I went through Tiger Scouts, everything. I tell people we came from Florida. Then we lived on the south side. Then we moved to the hood, which is West Patterson. I still got West Pad tatted on my arm. It's a lot of stuff I don't want to show. I got pictures of me when I was 15 with my older brother and them when the Copa used to be open. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. That ain't nothing to me to brag about. What I talk to the kids about is how I overcame and how I went and got a bachelor degree, a master degree, how I educated myself, how I have my own brotherhood, how I help people, how I love my people. That's what it's about. How I tell kids and show kids they can be anything they want to be. You know, I'm a positive example, you know, and I do things, wow, on the strength of. So that's why I ask people to support and help, because once we get our brick and mortar again, everything that's people asking me, I work in the field. That's going to be a part of my temple. It's not just going to be listening to me. We open 7 days a week. We're a community center, a learning center, a safe house, and I know how to buy land and make a religious community to where we can have our own houses for our single mothers or our women that may be going through certain things. Just like in the city of Flint, they have the Muslim house. You said, I'm the truth. You've been rocking with me for 3 months. And in gratitude for recognizing the truth, because you the truth. You got to be just as much as the truth, brother, for recognizing the truth in me. You have to be just as much as the truth, brother SHJR16. Why? To recognize the truth in me. That just shows how real you are. Why? Because when man, we honor what? Allah. We honor the God within. So that's homage, paying homage to you and to your wisdom and to your discernment. seeing these things. And see, I ain't telling nobody to pay me. I ask people to donate. Why? Because when you donate, you get a tax as a receipt, and when you donate, then you get in with me. You know, that's what I tell brothers. You know, I like that's how we can change this paradigm. How we don't have to complain about what nobody else doing. We can keep the energy positive. Why? Because we got enough. Oh, I know I'm good. Oh, I always brag about my parents. That ain't nothing for me. That's my whole thing. Me coming from a good family, like I honor that. That ain't nothing. I ain't embarrassed of that. That's my number one stamp. You said already. You know you had good parents, man. There's nothing to be. Oh, I damn sure ain't. That's my badge of honor. And every share that you come from, made from. Oh, that. Now you might be misquoting. That's my claim that I come from a good home. That all my friends said that. So you might have took my words out of context. But if you didn't, nah, man. I always tell the kids that. I always tell the kids that. That's I keep telling everybody when they hear me, I say, your story is not my story. I might have just lived in the hood. My story is not everybody's story. My homies will tell you. Everybody around me will tell you. My story is not everybody's story. That's what I tell people every day. I say, nope, I don't come, nope, I come from a home and mom on crack, daddy on crack. No, I come from a family. My mom and dad was bosses, educated. My mama owned 2 daycare houses in our neighborhood. My dad bought them for my mom, turned them into daycare. My mom was a consultant, making crazy money. You know, flying all over the world in Boston, limos picking her up. My dad was the executive director for Genesee County. You know, so nah, we always went on trips, and we live right in the hood. That's why I tell people that ain't my story. My homegirl on Facebook, her name Yolanda Wooding. We went to elementary school together. We went to Sobey Elementary. She come from a good family too. That's why I tell people, I said, man, nah, your story ain't my story. That's what I tell these Moors. I said, no, you just got into Moorish science. I grew up in this. My mother and father have PhDs in metaphysics. I grew up in IDMR. This ain't my first rodeo. I've been homeschooled as well. I can show y'all pictures of me with our whole downstairs is libraries. I can show y'all a picture with my dad with the fez on and garments. The Moorish Science Temple is on Martin Luther King Avenue. So that ain't my story. And my parents let me become me. I was assistant minister at Mount Olive and St. Paul Baptist Church. And all my messages was just like this. If everybody ever came to the churches and hear me speak, they'd be like, oh man, he do not be playing. That's why I tell people, look me up. And then when you look me up in Arizona, I had a whole charter school. They let me, the school board, the principal let me rent a whole charter school for $400 a month. When I first moved to Arizona, we had a big meeting because they had this thing. It was called from Flint to AZ, and it was over 300 some people moved from Flint to Arizona. We all met at the park. But you know, people be trying to count your money like, oh, he gonna get rich. Yeah, I should get rich for I can help us. And people didn't see it and it got scattered. But anyway, here we are. You know? You know? That's here we are, you know? And that's why I tell people, man, I'm homeschooled, man. That's what I tell people. My story is not everyone's story. You know? I don't come from a background for that. I don't come from a background of welfare. I don't come from a background growing up with roaches and I didn't come up like that. Did some of my friends grow up like that? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Did I see that? Yes. Absolutely. Did some of my family members grew up like that? Yes. Absolutely. Because that's life. And when you growing and maturing, and when you going from here to here, to elementary, middle school, and you seeing this, you having friends, and you getting on your own, you see things, right? Right. But that's why it takes certain ones to be able to reach our children. That's why it's certain ones that can adapt. You know? And I always tell people this. I said, it have to be some things that's similar. It's just like with kids. When you're dealing with a kid, they're going to know you off top. They're going to know what you're all about. How? Because it's the spirit that operates in them. I'm telling you. And that's why law governs all events. You know? And that's why I tell people, until we understand how to be unified and support things that we say we want, there's no complaining to be done. There's no complaining. What'd he say? He said, "You're right, Sheik." And thank for the donation too, bro. Because a lot of our people on here, when I say I'm not trying to, I never tell nobody what to do. But if everybody on here that's so-called melanated, if they say they down with reparations, and then they'll say yes, and then I'm gonna say, well, Negro, Black, and colored, and African American, and anything that's synonymous to slave, to never ever in life get no reparations. And I don't care if you hire Ben Crump. He gonna win. He gonna get paid regardless if he win or lose. But no misnomer Black people will never get no reparations. Never in life. Never. Identifying as something that's synonymous to slave. And Negro, Black, and colored, and African American is all synonymous to slave. All. So if we can't agree to that, it's something bad. We used to homeschool our children as well. I have, let me see what you say. You say, I have a twin, 10 years old and 11-year-old, and I'm 47 going on 48. Yep. And that's what I tell people, like, you must. And even though, and say if people don't homeschool, I always tell people you still should be homeschooling. Why? Because if you have a child and say they going to school, they should know how to deal with everyone and judge people accordingly, by their heart, And so homeschooling is a certain way to what you mean, something that's innate. What you mean? I don't think, you need no Bible because we were born with these abilities, to be good, to do this. Could you get good things out the Bible? And could the Bible put a stamp on some of the things that we're born with? Yes. But for me and for my understanding, and for as a teacher, as a map and a guide, we're not going to belittle ourselves because there never was a time when man was not. We always understood. It's just what you're going to do with that understanding. Is the inside going to match the outside? And is the outside going to match the inside? See, that's a whole nother story. And everybody know that's true. That's a whole nother story. Because what we profess out our mouths sometimes we might not sign. What you mean? Because if I throw some paper in front of you and say, fill it out, Negro, Black, and colored, African American, or I put the SF 181 form in front of you, most people will put NEGRO. Yeah. And I bet you if I was around with kids that been through all backgrounds, I know how to teach. I've taught kids that was autistic and they wouldn't even speak it, and they beginning to speak. Why? Because it's a form of trauma, which people don't know. I'm talking about, I had kids that they stay with some of the most worst kids. I come around, I'd be like, he worse? I was like, nah. When I tell them my background, like I had a young boy in lockup at the Youth Development Institution that was from Detroit. He thought he was hard. And as soon as he met me, I had my regalia on. And he was like, you a Sheik? He was like, my uncle is Muslim. And I was like, well, I'm Sufi. And he was like, more science? And I was like, yeah. He was like, man, the elders was trying to tell me this was going to happen to me. And he was like, and he was crying like a mug, And I was like, well, we talked, and he was locked up in Arizona, and it's real in Arizona. And so just the fact of the matter is, it's supposed to be like that. The kids, and how can I say, brothers that's looking for themselves, they not looking for no one to, how can I say, let me get the right word. To be what? To homie, they looking for that respect level. Not a level where to tell them they doing wrong, the level to say, you got so much potential, unrecognized. And that unrecognized potential is what? Operating on a negative pendulum. All I do is how can I say it? Clean it up. It's almost like a child, you giving it a straight razor. It's not ready, you know? So that's why I tell people, I say some things, like I use the analogy, the quiver, the quiver. Be like, what? I say, that's why I tell a lot of eager people, the quiver. We all are able to learn. Because sometimes we don't have to let people bear. We don't have, because we can prevent things from our offspring from what? Making the same mistakes. So if we say well, we're gonna let him walk down that street and then let him fall in the same ditch we did. Why? Because we want to experience falling in the ditch. No, we don't. That's just like saying I ain't gonna be feeling away where we ate bologna and how can I say I ain't eat no chitlins and you only had to eat that because Slade. I want him to experience. No, we don't. No, we don't. We supposed to protect that in that quiver. It's just like when you got that sword and you got that sharp sword. You ain't just putting it in your pants. I hope it's going to be protected in that quiver for it don't cut you. I'm using an parable. I'm using an analogy. And this when I say I don't leave nobody in no burning house. Why? Because if I know the house on fire, I'm not going to walk you in there and what. And then I already know the experience, so I'm gonna prepare you. Now, once I prepare you and you don't want to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth from experience, then there you go. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. I ain't had that no one to just say, send you all the way out and let you bump your head all the way and say, see, that hurt. No. I grew up with my father. I keep telling people. My dad. My dad was the scholar leader. My dad was the coach. My dad used to rent out the high schools and the elementaries to let me and my friends hoop. My dad used to buy us all the tennis shoes. That's why I keep telling people I grew up with my dad. So that's what I keep telling people. Everybody's story is not mine. I grew up with my dad. You know? Some stuff I knew not to do. Why? Because of my dad. I was more afraid of my dad than anything. I knew what not to do. I knew what level to go. I knew what I can do. Why? Because my dad told me never to tell him no bull crap. Everybody thought my dad was in the mob when we was young. My dad built. All I remember is my dad was young, working out with his homeboys, playing tennis with 15 chains on, wearing suits and Adidas jogging suits, and being a boss, and raising his family. And right in the neighborhood. And all my friends used to come around. All my homies in the hood, all of them. All the so-called gangsters used to be around me, from Mikeville, Marlon, my boy Mickey. All the gangsters used to spend that over my house and respect my dad. Why? Because we was in the hood. That's why. Because it's just the hood. Everybody in the hood ain't gangsters and thugs and criminals. Why? Because the community was nice. You know? And so that's what I try to tell people. I say, no, man, we're supposed to protect the next generation. And that's why we're not where we need to be. Why? Because we'll let the next generation bump their heads, because we bumped our head and got a big stupid knot. So we want them to be knotted up too and say, ah, look at your knot. No, we want them to surpass us. That's like with that NIL. You got all these old people mad. See, they ain't had it when back in the day. So what? They got it now. I don't know what people be talking about. You know what you say, JD? So when I'm in the mix, it's for a good cause. My mother and father both on trucking companies. Like I tell my people, my parents have money. I'm still, you say you still what? You still building. Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. When you see the other people, they be, oh, that's a trust fund, or they got their own nonprofit CEO and all the dad friends just donate to them, you know? And so they all in a higher tax bracket. So they built their organization, you know, and they taxes them for the federal government. Then they hire all their friends and sit on the board and they do charitable work, or they just open up something. That's what I'm trying to bring back to my people. And it's not contingent on, how can I say, you believing in something outside of yourself. Because we way beyond that. It's about us understanding who we are, understanding our economic power, understanding that we are electric and we currency. That's what this means. And if people been following me for a while, you've seen the work that I've done. Right now, we own 10 acres and we getting ready to get more land and put structure on our acres. Like I said, we got 10 acres. We can build on 60% of the 10 acres that we already have. We should be building a greenhouse with everybody on here. Everybody should be like, yes, let's do it. Everybody should be donating. We have our temple in school so we can have something and nobody life change. And I tell everyone, hold us accountable. And so now things is working. I'm just happy that I'm able to do these things and continue to talk to my people why the work is in progress. And I'm glad that my muftis that been with me for like 7 years is on the ride with this. You know, that's the glory that I have, you know. What you say? What you say? You said, I've seen so much negative in my life, you know what I mean, Granshi. I try my best to be a balanced individual. I'm a Libra as well, third child. Okay, I'm a Capricorn. I had to bury my brother. My baby brother killed Jelani Goodman Bay. My friend in middle school, Michael Blackmore, head got blew off. My homeboy, Nicalius Brown got shot in the face, I think by the same dude. We thought we were gonna lose him. My friend Mike Ville got killed by his brother. His brother Marlon Ville, the police killed him in front of me and my dad. My cousin Miguel Swain was dead in front of their house, slumped over in his van. I went through a lot of trauma as well. I saw people fail. I saw crackheads in my neighborhood, you know, on some wild stuff. I seen a lot of stuff. I seen people get their head bust wide open. I seen a lot of trauma. I seen it. You know, I'm from Patterson Street. I seen a lot of stuff. I seen ride-by shooting. I seen a lot of stuff too. And it's all levels of trauma, but it's trauma. That's why I say no trauma is better than this. It's what happens when we have this trauma. Because one child will say the reason why I'm not like this because I saw my dad or my mama going through trauma. And the other one will say the reason why I'm like this is because I saw this. You know? What you say, my brother? You said, I'm sorry. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what I'm trying to say. You're every age you've ever been. But guess what? Unfortunately, human nature is that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, people used to try and say, I thought I was better than them when I was in school, but my parents work. Yeah, come on, JD. See, I love balance. Yeah, people used to try to say, I thought I was better than them when I was in school, but my parents worked they bus off. I told my father about, what you say? Hold on. I told my father about Sheik and the work he doing and went, alhamdulillah. Absolutely. Because that's what I'm telling. My parents with me. That's why I be telling people, I said, no, man. I said, if anybody got some good parents, I guarantee it's going to be the same thing that your parents did. Everybody ain't like that. Same way with me. I ain't come from, I told you, my baby brother went to Catholic school. I didn't want, he went to Powers. I didn't want to go. You know, I wanted to, because all my friends went to Northern. I wanted to be with all my friends. I was trained to be successful at a young age. Trained to be successful. Man, I went to Canusa. It's like a games where in the summer where Canadians come. I went to Canusa for soccer, table tennis, you know? The high school coach and varsity Holiday came over my house when I was in the 9th grade, you know? You know? You know? That's what I tell people. I said, no, we ain't finna have kids going through the same stuff we went through. Ain't no way. It'll be remiss if for me to be like, no, we're gonna go through the same, man. Just like my boy Julius Harden. Me and him, the only brothers in the hood with master's degrees. My boy Julius got shot up about 7 times before in high school. He used to stay right across the street from me. He got a son that go to Notre Dame prep school in Pontiac. His son ain't never seen the hood. And he'd be like, well, wait. I said, man, thank Allah or whatever you claim for you being able to not to raise your son around all this Beirut looking stuff in the hood where all these houses raggedy, everything raggedy, everything tore up. Thank Allah that your son don't have to be brought up like this. He don't need to see this. That's why a lot of the old pictures that I got, I don't show that. I can show all that stuff on, so I'm not showing that. The kids know my heart. You know? So we should be proud that our kids don't have to go through some of the things or live in certain areas. Just like myself coming up with my mother and father. When we moved in the neighborhood, it wasn't messed up. You know? So that's why community is so important, as I always go back to, how can I say, well, how can we make things better? Community. Just like if you were alcoholic and you have that person you can call, it's the same thing. Community, people that you talk to every day, that you do things with every day, that y'all have like minds, y'all working out together, y'all growing together, y'all gardening together, community, building together. That's it. you know, and we use our experience to help. That's why I tell my people, man, I can talk all the science in the world, and people can still make that decision or that choice to go with whatever they do. That's why a lot of Moors are confused with the science. But also, as a divine minister, as a map and a guide, as a Sufi, I have to be able to sit down and say, I can put this book aside right now. You understand? And then, and come with wisdom, come with understanding, come with the peace within to show what's right, to show that man is made in a particular fashion. And man's supposed to do a specific thing on this earth plane. Because if we a people that's created in the image and it's not contingent on color, if we're gonna let that stop us from dealing with our brothers and sisters and building and understanding who we are, then it's messed up. And that's what they want us to do. Me and my mother and father were just talking about, and let's think about this. In Christianity, the separation of man and woman. And when I say what the Catholic Church know about the Mami Waters and the Sibyls and Artemis, all this stuff, they know this history. Why? Because I have a degree in Christian history. I have a master's degree from Grand Canyon University. That's why I'm telling people it's a lot that we don't know. You can't have creation and life without the woman. So you have to admit that you don't understand the metaphors. When I say immaculate conception is what? When man and woman coming together and 9 months, a child is born. That's an immaculate conception. Why? Because it takes some type of immaculate conception. Why? To have this child with a functioning body, all his limbs, that's an immaculate conception. We have to understand this. We're not dealing with no mystery. We understand this is a creator. Why? Because it's a creation. When we talk about sustainability, these are things that we can agree on. Why? Because we are philosophers. We understand wisdom. We must understand with reason. We must understand the principles of things. When we talk about the 7 Kemetic principles, a lot of times connotated as hermetic. These are the things that we should be teaching our babies at a young age. That's why in certain areas like China, they said, hey, you shouldn't be teaching religion to no one until they 18. And now they're getting strict on you doing this at home. Why? Because it messes up the brain. You don't want your kids to be judging people based off of religion, of how you feel about a religious perspective. Because we know about conditioning. Hate, love, everything is what? Is a condition. Where? That's been what? Conditioned from what? Home. Hate, all those things come from your environment. And 10 times out of 10, it comes from what? Home, your upbringing. So these are the things that I try to clear up, especially when brothers come with that religious perspective. From a Christian perspective, this better than this. From an Islamic perspective, this better than this. And they got the same forefathers. They playing semantics. Abraham, they are playing semantics. And a lot of people, it's just not into the know. And then with these religious mistransliterations, we get what? Confusion. And that's what we do. Come on. And on both levels, you have the radicals, because you got Hebrew Israelites, with all due respect, that say righteousness is only contingent for a certain person. So you're telling me the Creator created, I thought the Creator created man in his image, and they made he, she. I thought, and this is what I said, I thought it wasn't no contingent on color. Like, how can we say that? It's just so hard for me to say color. And then when brothers misquote the scriptures, if you so biased like that, and they always talk about Jacob and all this and this, that, and the other, and how this is an easy fix. This is an easy fix, This is an easy fix. When these hateful people, Hebrew Israelites, and Hebrew just mean part in the water, it's an act. when they say, well, they use Laban as derogatory to try to say the other man, the other man. And I say, okay, well, if that's the case, didn't Jacob marry Laban's two daughters? What you mean? So if that's the case, Jacob married the White man's two daughters. You read it for you. Read it for yourself. When this stuff can be cleared up real easy. And when they say it's finished, it's not fulfilled, we're not under the law no more. Well, that's a Greek word in that context called pilero, meaning to magnify and bring back to your remembrance, because individuals was teaching false doctrine. See, like this ain't hard to do. This is just facts. And so when things are brought to people, a realization from scholarship, which I know most of us are just reciting things, because if a person that try to prove a Christian perspective, they're gonna use the Christian book. A person try to use the Islamic perspective, what they gonna do? Islamic book. Yeah, we know that. So really, that's nothing. You really can't do that. That's like an oxymoron. But most people don't understand scholarship and the rules of how things are measured. So the first thing you will get is argument and disagreeing, you know? Yeah, the psychosis is crazy. That's why I tell people, I say, I'm not here to argue with no one. I say, I'm not here to do that. I said, Ruth the Moabitess, Tamir, like, it's a lot of things these brothers say, it just can't happen how you say it happened. But if you come in with all that hate, well, Jacob married Laban's two daughters. So you telling me Jacob married the White man's daughter? Yes or no? Because if you're using Laban as to say it mean white literally, and I say, yeah, it mean white literally. Just like black is an adjective. This means black literally. So I always say, okay, well, I say, if that's what you say, if Laban mean this white person ethnicity, did Jacob marry Laban's two daughters? And if you say yes, so did Jacob marry two pink toes? With all due respect, I'm just... If more men black, no, that's just like negrito. Then they would no, negrito mean black. See, they not linguistic. Negrito mean black in Spanish, like negrito beans. But that's why no street corner pimp can tell me nothing. But that's the hate. When I break down the Moorish Ishmaelite, they'll be like, well, because once again, it's always a separation, like Crips and Bloods. That's what they do. It's always the death of the Black Messiah. And we just don't know enough. When you see the Uniting of Asia, when you see Winworth Matthews them, when you see the Moor Zion's Temple of the Jews, and you see Rabbi Mordecai with the talent like I have on, with the small toppy, with the small toppy. That's why I said our people lost due to a lack of knowledge, because no one is coming from a scholastic perspective. When I talk about the Ethiopian rabbi, Abdullah, that educated and taught Neville Goddard, if any of my people dealing with mystics, no matter what color they are, because I deal with the brain, like Edgar Cayce, Neville Goddard, a plethora of other ones. But Neville Goddard was educated and learned by the Ethiopian rabbi. So when brothers be coming with this separation things, they have no idea. They have no idea. They just have no idea. That's all. And we don't even have to go all the way back to the pyramids. We can get current. That's why I said that's what they do. That's what man-made religion do, is separate us. And you dealing with people that they ain't reading no Paleo Hebrew. They reading English gibberish. That's why I talk about the Anglo-Saxon Bible will contradict everything they saying. And so, once again, a lot of stuff they quoting is just not there, because righteousness is not contingent on no color. I'm sorry, and all that's hate. I don't rock with hate on no level, because there's no reason to hate. That's how they got us messed up. That's how they got us messed up. Just like I tell people, when you read the One World Tartarians, the transatlantic slave didn't happen like that. Then we could talk about the Islamic slave trade. A lot of stuff didn't happen how people thought it did. Why? Because they're not educated enough to know these things. And when you finally educate yourself, you have to admit that you sincerely wrong. And that's what religion does. There's no reason to argue with no one that'll be on the corner arguing strictly from the Bible. But okay, you should be able to bring everything from history as well. When you talk about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and all this, I said, oh, okay, so what are those? When I say, okay, you all this New Testament stuff is the Pesos family. Do y'all know who the Pesos family? I can go way deeper. Look it up. All that Flavia Joe, the Pesos family. So once again, a lot of stuff, I'll just be like, man, and then I'll just come from the origin, and it'll all be blew out like Fuji dust from scholarship, from love. Why? Because none of the stuff can be proven. It's all belief system. It's just like you believing in I forget the little fairy tale book, and you reading it as you're supposed to read it as literature and poetry, but a lot of people won't even get that. You know, a lot of stuff they don't even know it come from ancient Egyptian manuscripts. You know, and it just pieced together. And then back then you would be called a pagan. You know, a lot of people be thinking they be heavy and they write in pseudonyms and pen names. Because if they would have wrote in a regular name, they would have been, executed. Like a lot of stuff our brothers and sisters just don't know. And so this how they get us. You know, I'm sorry. You know, this what I tell people. I say, hey man, one, it's experience and understanding, and then I tell people, prove it. You know, because a lot of people can say things. I said, if the inside don't match the outside, you can't. I ain't rocking with that. It's like a dog on a chain. It's barking like a bug. As soon as it's time to scratch, you let it off the chain. Nothing. All that stuff then is meaningless. All that stuff to me is meaningless. All them weights, all that stuff is meaningless. All the training, all that stuff is meaningless. And I'm using that as an analogy. You know, we're supposed to get to a level once this is complete, then what? We reach one and teach one. I always talk about electricity. I always talk about power. I always talk about community. That's the only way the power it spreads. That's the only way the electricity spreads. A lot of people, when I did a synopsis, I said, you want the light switch? You think the light switch the power, or you want the source? A lot of people didn't catch what I was saying. They're like, they want the switch. And I said, well, boom, we just disconnect the power. Now you got the switch, you got the doohickey. You want the power source, because you can take that power source and connect it somewhere else and have what? Electricity. So we always want to be connected to the source. The source, and we are electric. We have to understand this. We have to understand our power and take our power back to be electric. We are currency. When I tell people, I say, listen, man, we're not synthetic. We organic. So if the human is not synthetic, we organic, that should tell you something. That should tell us something. You know? And I would sit up here and tell you I have the keys if I didn't. I wouldn't sit up here and tell you I wouldn't have the keys if I didn't. I wouldn't sit up here and tell you, man, I've been anointed and consecrated. I haven't took no oath. But am I initiated through the wisdom? Yes. Just like martial arts. Just like you're going through academia. Just like you're going through the rank of anything. Just like you're going through academia from this grade to this grade. Come on, man. It's no difference. And then if I took an oath, I wouldn't be here freely talking to y'all. I'd be in the lodge, or I would have took the job, and it would have been contingent on me shutting this down. I just know what we can do to where nobody can't shut us down. You know? That's all I'm telling my brothers and sisters. When we can really do a great migration. The great migration is not going to the continent of Africa. The great migration is people taking an area to where we can rebuild and we can move people around each other, where the property value is a certain thing. And we have people that can work with their hands as brick masons and electricians, and we can buy these things under our religious charter. Then we can really start homeschooling and bring a lot of our single moms and kids to a community with a woman is a widow. when they be and I'll be like, what? I say most of our women are still widows. A widow is a woman with a child or single, and all that. So a lot of our women don't need to be widows. They need to be a part of a community where the older ladies and the younger ladies and they all showing each other how to be what? Better. You know? We're doing things together. We're building together as a community. And that's why I say with me, this is not something that I just do on the weekends. I do this every day. I work out every day. I meditate every day. I contemplate every day. I do my studies. I write my diary. I mentor certain people. I send my emails out. When I get back to Arizona, then I'll be back seeing my clients face to face. I see them on Zoom. And so a lot of these things I do is real. And I ask my brothers and sisters to support our temple in school with small donations. I'll give you a tax exempt receipt and I'll build your library. I want people to support what we're doing for y'all can see what can really happen with someone that's that's pure, with less finances. It don't take me no $7 million, because I know how to do programs, especially for the youth. When they have 7th hour on laptops and through the summer, the kids will still get their programming. And then, hell, when the kids are out of school in the summer and the parents still working, they come to our summer camps. I know how to get tickets for all professional games, take kids. I know how to do a lot of things. Why? Because y'all saw me do that already. I know how we can use our funds, everybody that's working, and donate to our temple and school, and everybody can get a tax exempt receipt to get an Uncle Sam. Because I know everybody on here, the majority of people don't understand tax code. Why? Because if you're a member of a church, you will be like, yep, because my church give me a tax exempt receipt. If you donate to your church and give tithes and offering each week, and then tell me at the end of the year how much you donate to your church, if you don't get a tax exempt receipt to claim on your taxes to Uncle Sam, then you paying taxes twice. And what I tell people, my people donate to our temple and school, you get a tax exempt receipt, and everybody going to be a stakeholder, and everybody going to get to do the ribbon cutting with us to do our inauguration when we first open our doors in the city of Flint. We'll buy one of these buildings because there's so many just sitting waiting for us to buy, and we'll own it right out. We'll just do a cash offer. Then I'll show you all the synopsis, like this how much it costs to keep the lights on, XYZ, and then all the programs that I've worked and I have the experience to do, I can bring the right people in. My homeboy Julius Harden, y'all can look him up. He's a licensed counselor for the state of Michigan, a psychiatrist, on all levels. I think he's like a level 4, but my boy Julius Harden. You can look him up on social media. So all the stuff that we doing, we pulling everything together so he can plant his shield up at our organization, and that be a part of our community. Because we have the right people to do these things. And then with myself, having my credentials and things that I do, and the background that I have dealing with kids and dealing with prisoners, male and female, dealing with autistic kids, dealing with kids with all levels of trauma, will be all trauma. And then I have people that are volunteer because I know how to do in-kind service. And anybody I know that's a professional on here, I know how to do in-kind service. I know how to get work study for college students. If work study is not available on a campus, then they can fulfill their work study with us. How? We can have our own training and our own sports teams and have these college players assisting. We can have the grandparents and they can get their little money from the grandparent program. How? Work with our youth. We always would bridge that gap. It's always a gap that need to be bridged, and especially with us elders and with us brothers that can help these young people. We need to show them that they dope, and we need to show them that we'll be the ones that's taking them to the next level. We'll be the ones that's celebrating them. If they don't have a positive male role figure, it shouldn't always have to be boys and girls club and big brothers and big sisters. All this stuff is government programs. But what about the brothers that say, oh, we Moors and we Negro Hebraites or whatever they call themselves? Well, I don't see no mentoring because I wouldn't want my kid. That ain't no type of mentoring. And I'm a brother. Yes, they say some good stuff, and yes, I get that. I'd rather them doing that than anything else. I get it. But for me, that ain't the way. And I wouldn't want my kid like that. I would want my kid with one of these sovereign citizen Moors neither. I wouldn't want my kid around some of these radical church people. I would want my kid around no Church of God and Christ preacher that's a fairy, with all disrespect. I don't have nothing against it, but I think all kids should have a choice, and nobody should be manipulated. Because when you see that, to me, that's a PDF file, to me. from my humble opinion. From my humble opinion, you know? And that's what I tell people. We need to protect the ones that can't protect themselves. You know? We need to Carla said LOL fairy. But no disrespect, man. No, I don't mean no disrespect to no one. You know? I say it's a place for all that, and everybody can have their own thing. But we don't promulgate that, and we have to be honest. And even with with our women and things, the women have to be honest. You know, with what's going on, and say you don't have to promulgate all that stuff. And no, and just because a person is in the spirituality, they don't have to be a fairy. They don't. You don't. Your suit don't have to be tight and all that. It don't. With all due respect, you don't have to be a certain way and look like you can't be who you are. As that dominant figure they're supposed to be. You don't have to lower yourself and have a spray on hairdo. But real talk, and that's what I'm saying, and it's across the board. And you don't have to be poor. Like I tell people, oh, well, we in religion, we gotta be poor. And then all poor people, religious poor people, they dish people that have finances and all that. And the person that may have the finances, they could have got it justly. But you hate on it. What do Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19 say? That's why I be laughing at these brothers. I say, you can always pick the negative, but everything you negative, I'm going to come back with the double-edged blade, and I'm going to say, well, what about this? Well, money the root to all evil. Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19. If money the root to all evil, how you buy your outfit? If money the root to all evil, where people living at? Where the head man living at? This is what I be telling people. Come on. If money the root to all evil, give me Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19. So the reason why I talk about finances, because I'm a supporter just like everybody else is. And I know what we can do with our own finances instead of giving it away to Uncle Sam. We can support our religious and charitable contribution of our choice, and everybody can hold us accountable. And we can have our religious house, our spiritual house, our library, our community center, our counseling, and all of it to be taxes in for the federal government. Religious, charitable, scientific, educational-wise, counseling-wise. We fall under a whole different tax bracket. And now we can have people coming to donate their time, professionals, and we can give them in-kind service because they be in a high tax bracket. So they can say their time is worth this, so I can give them a receipt like accounts receivable, You said that. You said, yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's all I try to tell people, man. It's like it should be no secrets in what we're doing. It should be unity. When I tell us we have the right to promulgate a certain thing, and if you're doing it out of love, no one can shut you down. If you don't understand law, and every time somebody says, "Oh, that's the white man stuff," I'm walking away from you. I'm so tired of people using that as an excuse. Oh, the white man. This. I said, well, what are you? Why are you here then? If you don't like being American, you talk about you some Moroccan empire. Well, go to Morocco. Go. They don't even have dual citizenship. They've been living on 2100 Jackson Street their whole life. And they get on social media talk about you from the Moroccan Empire. You ain't never left 2100 Jackson Street. You know? I be like, this is asinine. You know? You think a lot of people masquerade around athletes or individuals, they let the knowledge speak for itself. Well, yeah, because once again, we are busy judging on aesthetics. Well, you can learn from a bum. I get that. You can learn from anyone. That's why knowledge is no jurisdiction on a lifestyle. That's why spirit is that's why I tell people knowledge and the people that's knowledgeable is just a vessel that knowledge in. The only way you know knowledge is verbal or written. So the knowledge have to manifest in a certain way. That's why I can learn from anyone. But when we talk about teaching and educating, is you may have a poor righteous teacher, a street corner person, and then you may have a person like myself that's on both levels, that's academic and one, so you have, no, I'm just giving an analogy. I know you're not saying that, but I'm giving an analogy. I know you're not saying that of me. I know that, Noble, but I'm giving the analogy. of both ways. When I say we should be able to help both. When I say I can adapt to the lesser man, and I can adapt to that man that think he got some money or may not feel that he like that, and people like, well, people, I'm being judged. Why? Because I got a lot of money, you know, and the creator just gave them a little money, and then they still who they are. They still do good things. They just have some money. I know so many people like that. I met them in Arizona. That's why I said I'm at a good place. That's why I'm saying people that's really love you and see what you're doing, they'll support no matter what's going on. All my professional support. That's why they was like, man, you don't have to worry about your city of Flint. That's why I had to apologize to my Moosties. I was like, man, I apologize. My Noble Malik was like, man, because you was in your lower self, because your heart's so big. And so I was like, why my people ain't this? I said, y'all can support, do this. I said, man, let them do that. Let them be. Let them argue over religion. Everybody gonna be in the same boat a couple of years with nothing. No land, no guards. It'll be the same thing. They'll be following the next social media thing or complaining about the next thing. All my family hating on me. All the black sheep of the family. You see all the negative quotes. Look at all you gotta do is see what people post. I'll be like, man, your life is so miserable. There ain't no love. It's like, what are you doing every day to keep yourself the vitality, to keep that child happiness? Because if your life being happy is contingent on something else, and the closest place to find God is in your heart, then you might as well hang it up. You might as well hang it up. If you ain't part of no community and say this, not, and the other, and you don't have nobody, because that's your fault. We have the opportunity to do everything we want. How? Because the same people on here each week. With all due respect, the same people follow me each week. The same people. Just like somebody was telling me, Sheik, you should be the mayor for City of Flint. No, I shouldn't. Because I know what people say out their mouth is not real. Let me give you all an analogy, I'll give you all an analogy. Everybody said in the City of Flint that they love Eric Mays. And they had Eric Mays on the Ricky Smiley show, and they was making memes of him. And I said, if everybody loved Eric Mays so much, why Eric Mays didn't become the mayor? Why the people didn't vote for Eric Mays? Nobody can say nothing. But everybody said, that was my boy in the City of Flint. That was the man. He stood up for us. Okay, but what laws were passed? And if that's the truth, if we get out of all the, how can I say, reality show behavior, then why nobody vote for him? I tell everyone, I said, come on now. You know? You said you 47, you've been watching for 3 months. Absolutely. And that's what and remember, and only an intelligent person can play stupid. A stupid person can't play smart. That's why I tell people the only people that get caught up in these charlatans and these characters is people that want to be, messed up. You say voting can be a corrupt system. Anything can be corrupt. Tying your shoe can be corrupt. But this is what I tell people. I ask them, where do they live? If you live in a community and you don't participate as an American to cast your vote for things that's going on in the world that can affect you and everything and your children, well, that's why I tell people. And the true Moorish Science Temple, them brothers voted. Why you think the declaration and proclamations can be found in all the mayor's office? Moors help people get into office. That's why when I talk about the House Joint Resolution, when I talk about the in the mayor's office, all these things was voted. So we have to make sure, when people say things can be corrupt, anything can be corrupt. Anything. And if we stay on those negative connotations, nothing will get done. And that's what I tell people. That's why nothing gets done with us. We be making a prime example. And I say nothing's going to get done. Why? Because we're not going to stand up. Yeah, it's a proclamation in your city or shard. That's why I be laughing at people. I send it to everybody. I got all the proclamations in my phone. That's why I be telling people. And then I can go deeper than that. This is what I be telling. I said we're not going flex our power in our communities and things going on. We know things can be corrupt, but if we participate, if we doing the thing the right way, it ain't gonna get past us. Why? Because we got the right people in the house. This is what I tell people off the top. I say, this is how we will never have nothing in our communities. Why? Because we let negative aspects of things, instead of us standing up, the righteous ones with the positive connotation, with the heart right, and we make a change. Until then, it ain't gonna happen. And that's why I said we digress, because law governs all events. I teach this, but we deal with catchphrases and YouTube videos and not understanding, with all due respect, with all due respect. Let me see if I got something real fast. Let me see if I got this in my email. Oh, yep, I think I do. Oh, no, that was my video when I lectured it. But hold on. I might have it right here. Oh, yep, I got it right here. Watch this. This is what I be telling people. I say a lot of us, we not learned enough. And it ain't no disrespect to no one. It's no disrespect to no one. What do you say? But I see, Garcia, you will put right people in the right position. That is a leader. You said, and not to make a proclamation for no BS, saying the truth, to which Moors are the indigenous builders of North, Central, and South America. You find Hebrew Israelite with one. Yeah, the prophet already did the work for us to go study his express trust. Well, see, now once again, now, what's an express trust? See, this when people be talking, I'll let a person build. But now when a person say these, what is this express trust? What is express trust? And here go all the proclamations from the mayors, all signed. This the city of Chicago. This the Tacoma, Washington. What's the one that's this one? With this Great Seal, Baltimore. Well, this the mayor city of Omaha. This is Granite City of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Watch, he said, or if not, I know Grand Sheet has all that information for study. But I'm saying if we say these things, because if you was doing a lecture, if you was saying something and you would say that, then a person say, okay, well, show me. So I'm saying if we spit something out, if we're not 100% sure, and we shouldn't say those things. With all due respect, city of North Carolina, and here go to all the Declaration proclamations. When people say things, I'll read it, I know Drew Ali never said we were sovereign citizens. You good, brother. Thank you, JD. This is what I be telling people. When people be saying certain things, I be like, oh, man, like you dealing with someone that I'm part of the temple, with all due respect, no disrespect to nothing. If it's Morris Science Temple of America, what the prophet did, if we just spilling what somebody said on social media, what we heard, that's fine. But I know it ain't Morris Science Temple of America, because there's only one temple. If it's Morris Science Temple, Unity Temple, if it's Morris Science Inc., it ain't Morris Science Temple of America, because the Morris Science Temple of America, we have our own charter. We have our Declaration Proclamation, what sheiks can teach. Point blank to a T. Anything else is your expertise or your academic education. So what catchphrases, I don't deal with it, with all due respect. I just don't deal with it, That's exactly. JD Berry, SHI, what you talking about? And I'm glad my Bible on here, because we got to start saying stuff to people when stuff don't be making sense. SHRG, what you talking about? Whoa, yes, this is what I be telling people. I'll be like, man, we just be talking with all due respect. That's why I'm glad people are on my other platforms. And I'm saying, dude, yeah, that's not Morris Science Temple of America. And we be spewing things off at the mouth. And I'm like, a lot of stuff is fictitious. That's all I'm saying. We have a Declaration Proclamation. Just like the mirror sign, whereas Moorish Americans are descendants of Moabites, Hamites, and Canaanites who inhabited the northwest and southwest shores of America, and whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, and South America, have formed a sovereign theocratic government from among themselves and guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, through virtue of the universal right to self-determination and the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And whereas on January 8, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in North Carolina, descended to become the first patriarch of his mentally enslaved because that's what people talking that mentally enslaved stuff, Moorish American people. In 1912, he was later anointed as El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the heads of Egypt and holy city of Mecca to return to the United States and the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. And whereas there are planned events during Moorish American Week, which still valid today, citizens of Charlotte can learn about the history of Moorish Americans. Now, therefore, I, Anthony R. Fox, Mayor of Charlotte, do hereby proclaim January 8th to the 15th. He started in 2012 as Moorish American Week, with the seal on it, And we have a state booklet. So I don't be trying to do that, but when Moors be talking, I say you're gonna confuse somebody. You're gonna confuse somebody. If you're not 100% sure what you're saying, it's confusion. I already said law governs all events. I shared the state booklet with everybody. And Moors don't want to send it. They go to state booklet. And when certain people in there, peace be among their soul, when Moors be talking about they don't pay taxes and all this, man, well, that person, he got arrested for filing fake taxes, got all his people locked up. Well, not locked up. They was gonna lock them all up. That's why they made an example of this person. Because if I'm a map and a guide, I don't lead people to burn their houses. I don't know what you're saying. You say what? I'm saying the prophet laid out. The plan. A lot of etc. don't follow the plan. Grand Sheik is on that without processing that. You recognize it when you see it. Like I said, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know it. I don't know. Like I said, a lot of times stuff don't be clear. A lot of times what people be saying don't be clear. Not saying you not clear. I'm saying the prophet laid out. A lot of ECTs. A lot of ECTs. I don't know what a lot of ECTs is. I don't know what a lot of ECTs is. And they go make a proclamation, if that was any truth to it. If you have to have facts and penmanship to make proclamations. Yep. And so a lot of stuff about the Moorish Science Temple is there. A lot of things that I think when a lot of brothers profess things, a lot of the things that's precedent can get a lot of people in trouble. That's why I always tell people to be slow to say things on social media, because people have got locked up on social media professing things. This all I tell people, I say, because a lot of times we have to stand on these things that we profess, because a lot of times people take people's words as golden. That's why I'm always careful about what I say if I don't stand on it. If I can't stand on what I say and I say I'm standing on it, I'm not going to say it. You say you watched the one that the Shriner paid homage to Noble Drew Ali? Yeah. And I got the books, or every book he was talking about. That's why I tell people I'm not going to talk nothing about that I haven't done. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you something totally different that I can't say, hey man, I'm standing on it, if you like it or not. But when you realize it, once the lower self begins to speak to the higher, I guarantee if you a righteous man, you're gonna be like, well, my ego keeping me away from that brother, and I ain't gonna go and say you was right, Noble, and you might have been sincerely wrong, but you're gonna know that what I'm giving you is right. Because I'll never lead nobody into no burning house. Why? Because I don't have no motive. That's why I'm telling people, I'll never see nobody in no burning house. My empress on here, my empress on my Facebook page, she'll tell you. I said, I never lead no noble to a burn house. It'll be nothing you get from me that's going to get you in trouble. Never. It'll be nothing that you'll get from me that you got to question. Nothing. Guaranteed. Never. This is what I'm telling people. I don't play that. That's why I said I have to separate from people that say they Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Science Temple of the world, all these people in this, and I know better. And I had a state booklet, and I had a letter from the CCRD. I'm not going to let nobody sit up here and tell me nothing else. And then I'm an educator and a scholar, and I've been a divine minister, and I'm from the hood, and I got parents that's professors, and I grew up in IDMR. Like, man, you got to be out of your rabbit. With all disrespect, everybody have their level of trauma per se. But like I said, everybody didn't drop out of high school. Everybody didn't know. That wasn't my story. I grew up with my mom and my dad. This what I tell people. A lot of people only follow people on social media, and they go from this person to this person. That's why you will see so many people on social media that be trying to debate, because they got that lower self, and they didn't got that from following those conscious community channels. I'm telling you, it ain't no disrespect. Most of these people on here never been to no lecture. You know? And I understand, I teach all about the Catholic Church and Islam. I teach all about the Catholic Church and Islam, you know? And like I tell people, I'm not Orthodox, but I understand. I understand all the religious right, the Paraclete, the Fatima, the Jerusalem. I understand all the esoteric science. No disrespect, I have to study it. You know, you said you haven't followed nobody but old C. Free. I love C. Freeman L. I got all the charts. But I tell y'all, Dr. York and the follower have been studying more science since I was 35. Yeah, and from Clarence X to Dr. York, all of them, Dr. York was a more. I got all Dr. York books. That's why I be, when people be talking, and a lot of people that know me, they was like, man, Sheik, please be patient with this person. Because everybody know I don't even go all the way there. I only talk about maybe 3% of what I want to, because all I need is really 1%, which all due respect, because that's all most people think they know, with all due respect. But when they say Dr. York and all that, I have the whole library. I have all our life, everything that we should have, and I have it all. And I ain't saying it like that. Why? Because I know I do. And I know everybody angle when they be saying, I'll be like, oh, you got that from this. And then when I be talking about things, and I say, well, you say you was a student of this individual, and then I start speaking their science, and I be cracking up. Like I already spoke a person's science and quoted something, and they say they follow. That's why I say, oh, man. And then when people say things, it'd be like, cap, you know? You say, what you say, Noble? You said, dang, Sheik. Hold on. Dang, Sheik. Explain. You say, dang, Sheik. Explain that I told a brother that. And he tried to say, no, he not. He a Nubian. I'm like, dude, and walked away. Man, watch this. That's easy. Easy. Watch this. Freeman L was the truth. He made it so easy that the child could open. So let me say, C. Freeman L with Bobby Hemmett was friends. C. Freeman L spoke about a lot of the esoteric. Bobby Hemmett quoted a lot of esoteric books. Every book Bobby Hemmett quoted, no disrespect, I have them. C. Freeman L just broke these down like when charts. Like, I'm gonna show y'all some of the charts that I have. I don't think I have my C. Freeman L chart here, but I'll show y'all one of these charts. Y'all might have seen these charts back in Arizona. You know, these are my dad charts. When I told y'all when he was a kid, these are my dad charts, but I got them all. And I'll break them down another time and teach them about the dispensation, you know. And what we talk about, man is made in the image of Elohim, and the creation abides within Yahweh or eternity. I have to break this down esoterically, you know. It's all science. Right here, the C. Freeman L chart is this right here. When you look at the C. Freeman L chart and you see one hand's up and one hand down and cold volta, and you see the chalice and all that, this is this right here. The most man is made in the image of Elohim, the most holy place, the holy place, and a quarter roundabout. I'll break this down at a whole later time. You know, it's all gonna add up. But I don't want to pull all the rest of the charts out because there's so many. There's so many. The Old Testament, the New Testament is written where? In the heart of mind. The Old Testament is fulfilled. The New Testament is written within what? The heart and mind. When you see this symbology, I'll break it down at another time. I don't have time, but I'll break it down. And then when I break out the C. Freeman L chart, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you all the Kemetic science. I'm gonna show you all the Masonic symbology and show you it's all ours. You see this? The creation by the pattern. I'll break it all the way down. And and I done done this a long time ago. I tell people, I'm part of the Philosophical Society. So it's a part of the level of wisdom I'm always have, you know? You know? So when I be telling people this, I'll be like, man, okay. I'm like, man, we won't be shut down. We won't be shut down, you know? And I've been doing this for a long time, long time. And when I talk about Dr. York, man, a lot of Dr. York books are just old manuscripts, a whole bunch of old scriptures. Like a lot of the Russians know this. You know? You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of this stuff people be saying, I'll be like, if you be slow to be a student, we don't always have to deal with our martyrs, you know? You know? You know? That's what I tell people. My platform is a peaceful place. I'm not gonna condone no one bickering on my platform. I block people. That's why I say my platform is for peace. That's why I tell people, JD, no. A lot of our brothers, sometimes the ego I tell us, sometimes we should be slow to speak. If people was invited into a lecture, you wouldn't be conversating with no one else. You would be at a lecture, and then the security there, they'll be escorted, you know? You know? This is what I be telling people. It's a certain etiquette. That's why I be saying, I know I'm giving people stuff. Why? Because people say they this, profess this, and they done paid for this and all that. And look, we all here. And like I said, no one give a donation or nothing. That's why I tell people, come on, people didn't pay to be here. This is a gift. So if that's the case, be respectable. And if we did pay and give a donation, we still should be respectable to each other because we're supposed to be here to learn. Because if you was in my dojo, I would have already kicked you out. Without no disrespect. I would already kick both of y'all out, and then I would have started asking the question like, why are y'all in here? Like, it got to be some lower ego on the both because y'all talking to each other. Why? And the person that's here to learn shouldn't even be talking to another student. Unless it's helping them on what? Lessons. That's why I say it's a certain way, of etiquette that before anybody can be next to me, that's why I said I have brothers. It's a certain way we treat each other. And that's why I say social media, we became so disrespectful to each other because we don't have a proper etiquette. So a lot of things before we do anything, when we think we knowledgeable, we have to learn a proper etiquette. How we deal with each other. Because we won't do this to the other man. We've been in school all our life, ain't said nothing, ain't raised a hand. We went to church all the time, don't got nothing to say. But then people come over here, they got so much to say to a person that's higher than everything that we succumb to. This is what I be saying. And then everybody on here that follow me, don't nobody give donations. If you do, tell me you did, for I can send you some love. If I can send you some stuff that'll fact check what you think, so you can have it, for you can touch it and you can smell it, you can read it for yourself, and you can know for a factual. That's the reason why people are confused, because you don't have no library. And we assume it. How? By watching a lot of videos. It's a lot of things that can be trumped. I'm telling you, Bobby Hemmett talked about a lot of books, the Tantra Magic. He quoted a lot of books, a lot of European books. C. Freeman L. deal with the science, the esoteric science. He break signs and symbols down, or the primordial man per se. I just happen to know how to do both. And a plethora of more things. And can fact check things because we still in the flesh. And say, no, we ain't just gonna do anything and drink alcohol and do all this and say, well, this, that, and the other, and act like the spirits. No, man, we killing our kidneys. No, the spirit ain't asking for no alcohol. The spirit might be asking for some libations. Yeah, some libations, just to purify. Because a lot of times when certain people be talking in the spirit, like Bobby Hemmett, the average person is not catching it. They act like they do, but I know they not. I know this for a fact. And and then what C. Freeman L. speak on, if everybody say they like C. Freeman L. and all that, then they would have saw the science in their brother that's in the flesh today and say, well, we dealing with our brother in the flesh, and we're gonna support this. Why? And make this happen. Why? Because look back at our elders, they was going to doing all these lectures, and today, and everybody say we follow this and we support this. That's why I say we have digressed. I continue to say this, we have digressed. With all due respect. And that's why I tell us when we say we matter, we clearly can't matter. Why? Because how we treat each other. Man, I'll send you anything you need, Brother Jay. You know that. You say, stranger, you are, and I missed it, but I'm sending for a more miscommunication. I know I'm not tripping. I'm here with peace. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, they was on circus together. Yeah, and that's what I be telling them, Brother A Bay. Yeah, we on YouTube as real, Brother Bay. That's what I be telling them. They be like Seafree. I said, well, they was on a circuit together. You'll see Bobby Hemmett with Khalid Muhammad. They were all on a circuit together. That's why I be like, oh, that's why they say, well, they try to compare Bobby Hemmett and C. Freeman L. And we always got to X each other out. And I'm saying, no, we don't have a great Mount Rushmore. And they both had different views, but they came together as one because wisdom, just like Malcolm and James Baldwin. I mean, what's his name? Yeah, I'm Not Your Negro. Malcolm idolized James Baldwin, idolized him. He might not approve his personal life, but he idolized that wisdom. And you can't tell me no different. You can't tell me no different. And that's why I tell brothers, I said, man, we lost. People love Nubajar Ali, but don't talk about Deuce Muhammad Ali and Abdul Hamid Solomon. Y'all don't even know who Deuce Muhammad Ali is. You think our prophet Nubajar Ali had to be inspired by something? We talk about people that was before our prophet, you know? Yeah. That's why I be telling people, I said, dude, and then I can go even deeper to Tony Brown's journals. You will see all our scholars, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, on Tony Brown's journals. And they weren't arguing with each other. They were debunking Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda. They weren't arguing. Research Tony Brown's journals. And you see all our scholars on there at Arkansas, at University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. And Chancellor Wilson and them brothers building. But then we done gotten this lure up with this conscious community, with all these religious brothers tripping. And the prophet did the uniting of Asia. I got all the documents. The Negro is AKA the Blackamoor. The documents is there, you know? I don't know who this is, but we blocking all people. You know, we blocking all people. We blocking all people. I say I don't respond to nothing goofy. Way past that. But we got about 15 more minutes. And we out of here. But that's what I tell brothers and sisters, man. I be like, man, we got to support each other better. We got to support each other better. We got to treat each other right. We got to treat each other with respect. So when disrespect come, we nip that in the bud. But see, we let too many people disrespect us. I ain't let nobody disrespect us. That's how I roll. Nobody disrespecting us. Nobody disrespecting me. Why? Because we don't disrespect no one else. So we roll as a unit. Anybody disrespecting our empresses, our brothers, our children, we coming as a unit. That's how it be. And that's what my community is about. Just like if I was on your platform and you teaching me and you guide me and you my brother, ain't nobody coming disrespectful to you. Why? Because I'm going to be the first one to jump. Like, clearly, you don't know my brother. Like, you don't know my brother heart. You know? So ain't nobody finna disrespect my brother. That's why I said my platform is a safe place. This ain't no debate, no conscious community. That's why I don't be letting certain people on my page. You know? Yeah, I told y'all they all getting locked up. You know? That's why I said, because it's fake. People don't want the truth. They want to be lied to. Any adult, they want to be lied to. That's why I tell people I know energy. And that's why I said I know energy. How when people speak to me and then they say it ain't this, it's like they try to shake your hand but then insult you. I be seeing it. That's why I laugh. And I say, I understand it. It's like it's disrespectful. And then people say, well, I'm not being disrespectful. Well, when the person say I'm not being disrespectful, that means you've been disrespectful. When the person say, with all due respect, oh no, you finna come with some disrespect. So I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. I've done that. I know with the challenges. I know how people try to challenge. That's what we do. But I bet you people can't stand on what they saying. I bet you most people are black on paper. I bet you everybody on here that say that profess that more stuff, 99.9% of people is black on paper. I guarantee you. And that's why I say that's the disrespectful come. I said we need to just keep it like that. You know? We need to respect each other. And that's why I say sometimes people trauma it speaks. With all disrespect. That's why I said I'm a counselor. I know certain trauma, you know. I know when certain people use certain things and they repeat the same thing over and over. Like, come on, man. This is my field. Like, it's what it is. And then when people try to use words like, well, you know the etymology of this. Well, the etymology is humble is a lower ranking. Ain't nothing humble about me. So nobody can humble me. Just like when I tell people nice. So when people be trying to be smart and then I say, well, the etymology of humble is negative. And I tell people, do the etymology of humble and tell me what you get. Do the etymology of nice and tell me what you get. This is what I be telling people. I say, man, only an intelligent person can play stupid. So I know where people level be, and I'm not disrespecting no one. I'm just saying how we do. When I know when people try to be slightful, with all due respect, and we're not disrespecting no one, you know? You know? Exactly, Brother JD. I'm a warrior in the garden. I tell everyone, I said, no, I'm always respectable. But I see things, regardless if a person try to act like that, I see it. Why? Because if a person been on my page more than once or twice, they displayed the same things. You know, they displayed the same things. How? Over and over and over. They display these things. But I say 99% of people on here, they black on paper. If you're not black on paper, then I don't have to defend it. Remember, I always talk in science. Because when you say you're not something, now you got to defend yourself. And so when a person say they haven't been black since 35, and then I say, well, what process did you go through? Well, you weren't black on paper. Now you got to talk about it. When the person say they haven't been black on paper since 35, and I say, can you explain that to me? Because somebody on here might be black on paper. And since they said, well, damn, you must know something better than Sheik. And then when I say, well, now you have the time to enlighten people. Since an individual say they haven't been black on paper since 35, could you explain the process of what you have done to not be black on paper since 35? That's all. That's all I tell people. And when the facts come out, I tell people a lot of times what we say don't match in real life. And I'm not saying you, but if that's the case, well, you have the chance to prove it. Earth and soil, see? But no, you said on paper, with all due respect. You know, I know that once I say on paper, so that means we're not talking about metaphysics. Well, no, we not. No, we can't do semantics, brother or sister. We can't do that. Come on now. Come on now. It's just like on paper, they say, is your business, do you have your business, your DBA on paper? So if I want to donate or do this, and I can get the proper recognition for supporting or donating, when you say on paper, and I'll say on paper. Just like agreements, if someone's on paper, we say we have a paper contract, and I can't say, you know, in spirit or this, that, and the other, or a handshake. We say we have an agreement on paper, you know, no matter if it's on papyri, no matter if it's on the napkin, you know, and then it's registered the right way, you know? You don't have to check it. And you lost. You lost. You lost, with all due respect. That's not true. And that's what I tell people. I tell people, I know where people are. You said all you have to do is select other. You don't have to check any box. That's not true, brother. That's not true. No, you don't have to check other. If that's what you think, brother, like that's sad. I told y'all, that's what we do. Other means what? Other means what? What my noble said, what my professor said. He said that. He said, why would he say that shit? I don't know. Professor Darby. That's a civic professor. African American, you know the checklist is no process at all. All you have to do is check other. Thank you, brother JD. This is what I be telling people. I said, when we do these things, and I say, are you sure? With all due respect. Because if we saying something that's not factual, we're not gonna pick other what? That's all I tell people. You say, you know the checklist is no process at all. All you have to do is check other. Other what? Why would I check other? That means I don't know who I am. Still, a person don't know who you are. And why would you pick other? Why would you pick other? If we're here to learn and all this, and we'll say things, why would we put that out here? Because now we have to defend it. Why would you pick other? And why would you teach somebody else to pick other? There have to be some reason behind it. That's why I say people have to admit if they sincere and they sincerely wrong. It's okay, because we're here to learn. And if you were taught that, then you can admit when you get the truth of the matter, you can say, man, you were sincerely wrong. Because I gave all the facts of the matter. I've been building on this for the whole week. With all due respect. That's why I say we can't stand on something that's not truthful. We can't say, well, I'm just going to roll with it. And they say, but it's not truthful. You can't build on something that's not truthful. And that's what people be trying to take stuff to the court. And I say it's contempt because you're trying to defend something that's not even valid. That's contempt. And what we'll do as people, we'll stand on that. You know, and brothers will get behind it and argue with people and say, and I say, well, that's not true. On paper, from what you look like, you put other, they're going to fill it out for you. If my noble Malik just showed people that at his job with his insurance and things, you know, and they'll try to say, well, we thought you were this, we filled it out for you. He was like, no, I'm white. Research the Spencer and Dungy law before Abraham Lincoln was an attorney. Was the president. This is what I be telling people. I say, with all due respect, we are not learned enough and no civics enough to be going there and saying that we are expert in what we saying. If we can't prove it, you know, if we can't prove it. So I don't know why people be just doing that, you know. And I want to be, and I will be wanting to keep people here, but I'm telling you, I operate on the spirit. I'll be wanting to block certain people. Like, this is my platform. And I'm gonna be real. I told people, when people say stuff, I'll be like, what you trying to do? Like, are you trying to challenge me? Because then a person to say something and then they be like, well, good stuff. What do you mean? When a person that do that, I like, what game are these people playing? That's why I say, man, I'm not on here to play no game with no one. And if anybody on here to play, this is not the platform. You know? Matter of fact, we're in that right now. You know, because I told y'all, I know, I be knowing everybody angle, and I'm not tolerating no disrespect. Why? Because I don't let nobody disrespect me. You know, and when you come on here playing with confusion to say you learn, then say something out of your mouth that it's very simple, and I'm not gonna let nobody say that stuff. Then they keep on spewing up at the mouth. If you got some trauma problem, you need to fix that before you come here. And this is what I be telling people, man. I'm not here for no game. This ain't no conscious community. This ain't no debating. This the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. This ain't no conscious community. And that's what I be telling people. And once again, you got this brother on here been following me for me. Well, I've been following you. You the righteous, this and all that. Then say the most outlandish stuff out their mouth. And then somebody say, well, how you following this brother? And what you saying, the brother been educating and saying what you saying is not valid, brother. That's why I be saying the disrespect and the audacity of us. That's why I be saying the psychosis of a lot of these people. Like, something wrong. Something is wrong. And we talking about adults with children. And this is what I be saying. Like, I see it. I've been doing this too long. And this is my platform. Like I said, I play nice. I respect everyone. But this is a safe place. I'm not going to let nobody disrespect people that I deal with on here playing. Just talking and making no sense, you know? And then they say, all you got to do is pick other. Why would you pick other? Other what? And I broke this down yesterday. I've been breaking this down for a week. And then people say they've been following me and all this. It's like, no, you on here playing. So do your own thing and lead people into the burning houses. And that's what y'all get. You know, when I say yo, I'm not talking about nobody specific, but that's what people get that follow people on social media. With all due respect, because common sense and wisdom and education is not popular in our community. It'd be a court jester or someone dropped out of school in the 3rd grade trying to have a debate with me because they watched some stupid ass videos. I don't give a damn how many videos you done watched of whoever. That don't mean nothing to me. And you climb back up into your little mouse roach hotel with a woman on welfare. And I live in Arizona. They say, man, you pay down to $2,300 your mortgage. Yeah, man, I'll move back to Flint. It's cheap. I don't want to live in Flint. My parents don't even live in Flint. They live in the outskirts. Hell, my parents live where we at? Burton. But it's only like Flint, like that. So that's what I tell people, man. This is not popular to us. What? Education, wisdom, you know, learning. A brother that's knowledgeable and come back and teach his people. People come on my page trolling, and then this brother right here act like it's respect, and then saying some of the most outlandish stuff. And I said, if you was my class, I would have been kicked you out. I would have been kicked you out, but I'm being respectful. What about the Naga, the Serbian people Bobby Hemmett talked about? Well, okay, well, the Nagas, just like the young European in the spelling bee, when I tell people, look up the young boy in the spelling bee when they ask him to spell Nagas, and then you will get a clear understanding. You will get the etymology and the origin of those group of people. You know, you get the etymology of that, you know? Yeah. He talking about a people, but once again, he's talking about a group of people. And the snake is the Kundalini rising, like in the medical field. So remember, that's why they call us coons. You know, coons, the Kundalini rising in the medical field. When you see that in the chalice, when you see in C. Freeman L chart, or you see Alicia Levi, and you think it's something evil, and it's the cold Volta, and that in the chest. Yeah. All you gotta do is research the spelling bee of the young boy in the spelling bee, and they asked him to spell niggas, and it was a young, smart European Albion Trailerdyke young boy, and he said, "Put it in a sentence. Give me the origin. Give me the etymology of the word." When they gave him the origin, when they gave him the etymology, and then they used it in the sentence, the light bulb moment came on because they had to explain the origin of the word and the history of the word. This is what I be telling people. Scholarship means something. I ain't been in a debate with someone that I know don't know Pooh Diddley that's on here that's talking out the mouth. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to waste my energy with that. I'm just going to delete you. I'm going to let you play both hands. I'm going to let you put both of your shoes on the wrong feet. I'm going to let you stumble. And then after you done bust your knees up, then you out of here. Why? Because it ain't doing nothing for me. With all due respect, I tell people why. It ain't doing nothing for me. I don't get no donations on here. So I can block everybody on here, start all over again. I'm not losing nothing. Ask my Empress, she on my Facebook page. Ask her how many times I started YouTube and all this stuff over. Because I'm a real person. I don't get nothing off here. I'm not no influencer. Even though I'm monetized on all platforms, I don't get no donations. Only people get donations on here is the people that be lying to y'all. Riding around in fake Bentleys telling you to file this, and you can do this, telling you can get this fake house and all this fake ID and all this stuff. And y'all think people being abducted by aliens and cloned. Man, people ain't that important to get cloned. None of these people on social media talking stuff that was talking all that mumbo jive stuff. The only thing happened is they played crazy, went to court, and they got some of that medicine, and they put their butt on the crazy floor. Because when you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. So when you get some of that medicine, you know what medicine I'm talking about, to straighten you up. Some people come back, some people don't come all the way back. That's how. So that's what happened. Don't be talking about somebody got abducted by no alien and somebody got cloned. Man, these people, it's not that important to get cloned. You done got some medicine because you playing crazy. Now, you want to go all the way there? We can go there. That's what I tell y'all, man. These is facts. So I can delete everything on here and start all over. It ain't doing nothing for me. I ain't losing nothing. Yeah, you right, brother Bay, them chill pills. When you see people there, oh, this person got cloned. Man, ain't nobody getting cloned. You ain't that important. They ain't cloning you. Cloning you to do what? Clone a person on the internet talking that mumbo jumbo about some Anunnaki, and they got all these people to do. Clone you for what? Tell me to do what? What? No, you're going to get some of that medicine. Anybody locked up doing this for messing with kids and all that, they locked up for a reason. Why? Because they locked up. That's what you get. Absolute power sometimes corrupts you. Absolutely. You say, it's strange, though. What you say, brother? You say, It's strange though. It's all truthful teachings. It should be packed viral, but the truth is hard to take. Well, I keep telling people, I'm part of something. I know it's a multi-million-dollar industry to make us look stupid. Like people get paid. All these old people on here rapping. You got all these people from Pontiac and Detroit. All these old dudes, dog face. All these old people that's on social media talk about these other people. It's a multi-million-dollar industry to make us look stupid. I told you this is not popular. That's why I said I'm not on here to do it. I have a certain community. I expect my community to support. And y'all share the teachings. This stuff don't go viral. This stuff won't go viral because it's too right. If I was on here talking crazy like Charleston White, saying a whole bunch of separation stuff, the woman against the girl, if I was on here selling fake ID, if I was getting a fake Bentley in Vegas, if I go to Vegas each week because my noble live in Vegas, and I rent a Bentley for about 30 minutes just to jump in there and go for the corner to corner and say, yeah, man, you can do this like the Amish. And I'll have on all my jewelry decked out, and I'll rent hotel rooms and everything. And I tell y'all, take my course and all that, I'll already be rich. I'll already be rich, and y'all know it because that's what everybody follow. Everything they do, I tell y'all what's gonna happen, and it play out. I told everybody before the dude came with this goofy badge, I said, next he gonna come with the badge. I said, why? Because you gotta keep the lie going. I said, next he gonna say he got a PhD in law. What? He said he got a PhD in law. So if you got a PhD in law, it's an oath you gotta take. Man, you done. Like you lying to me. And that's what I tell people. That's what's popular. All the fake stuff. And then they put on their garbs and want to apologize. I told y'all. It's on us to do it. We the algorithm. When people say, oh, it ain't popular. Well, it's enough of us to be popular. It's like 5.7. I don't know what, I got 5.7 hearts on here. K hearts on TikTok. So the algorithm is us. I don't be seeing my stuff on everybody's page on here. That's why. So when people say algorithm, we ain't doing our goddamn job. Excuse my candor. We ain't sharing it. It'd be too many people on here, 5.8K responders. I'm getting all these jewels and all this from TikTok. The algorithm is us. When I don't run everybody's name down that follow me, I don't see none of my stuff on their page. I see a whole bunch of stupid stuff, but the same people be on my page, I be on your page. And they be on here each week. That's why. So I get what people be saying, brother. With all due respect, I get what people be saying. I'm going to tell you some truth, brother Carlin. It was a brother following me since 2019 on my page from the Moore Science Temple, Inc. or Unity Temple in Atlanta. And then said that his sheik was following me. And then said he stopped going. That's how I know. So when I tell brothers why I ain't viral, because when I go on these people's pages that's been following me forever, they ain't spreading it. They ain't spreading it. That's how. So the algorithm is us. It's been people that's been following me forever. You go on their page, nothing. Been following me forever. And a lot of people's names be sounding familiar when I be reading the names. I'm like, damn, do you used to follow me? This, not, and the other. And then people like, yeah, Sheik, I've been following you for years. There we have it. When I be looking at names, because I don't forget a goddamn thing. I'm like an elephant. People don't be know I got a whole database, Ask My Empress. I got whole 5 subjects with everybody's names. So when I be seeing people names, with my IT guy on my page, he like, Sheik, yeah, he been following you for this amount of time. Or this person been following you this amount of time. Like the brother said, he been following me since 2019. You know, real talk. When we talk about algorithm, we create our algorithm. You know, we create the algorithm. When you go on these people's page and they say, well, this should be this and this should be this, you go on their page and the first thing I'll say, well, why you ain't sharing his teachings on this page? If it should be this and you like the teachings, and then if you know other people that's like you should be showing them like, yeah, man, that stuff you talk about ain't valid. You know, or if you out here promulgating something that'll get not only you in trouble, but people around you. Here go a brother, that man, I've been following this brother since 2019. And he got a plethora of messages on YouTube. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about algorithm, we the algorithm. Why? Because if you take the people out, there's no algorithm. That's like when people be buying these fake testimonies. When I can show you like, that's a fake testimony. That's a fake testimony. It's not real. Y'all are real. And that's why I'm saying real people do real things. We are the algorithm. If everybody on here shared the teachings, if everybody was okay giving a couple dollars, $100 a month or whatever, getting taxes and receipts, then people would be getting things from me, books from me, turbans from me, kufis from me, tunics from me, jewelry from me, because I got my own warehouse. I got my own companies and everybody know that. Then that's the community and we'll have our brick and mortar. You know, we'll go back, people will be able to come to the temple. You know, and so now we starting our conventions. Like I'm getting ready to be in Sacramento on the 16th that weekend. So that Sunday we'll be doing the teaching at one of the conference centers. I'll share this. If anybody in Sacramento, come build with us. We're going to be doing a running club in the morning. We're going to talk about health and wealth early that Saturday morning. And then my noble, we having a good dinner. He's having at his house. He do every year a seafood boil. And then Sunday we're going to do a teaching at the conference center at one of them hotels, which we'll get together. We'll figure it out. But as we close, man, it don't take a whole bunch of us to build something. Because if I got 6.2K, whatever that is, if that's hearts, that means there's some people on here. If I got people on my personal YouTube channel, and then I got people on Facebook, and the reason why I have all these platforms up, because I got Facebook up, it's people on here that been knowing me since I was a freaking kid. I got homegirls that been knowing me. I grew up on Green Street, went to Sober with, seeing my growth, knowing what's up with me. And that's why I be like, man, we gotta support something that's real. That's bragging rights for us to be like, look what we have, for we can go to and we can learn, and there's no biasness. And it's somebody that you know that really love, and we can build and do group economics where we don't give all our money away and we don't see none of our money working for us. That's what I teach. And everybody can support. How? With donations. Everybody on here should be okay with giving a donation to our temple and school. Everyone should be okay with at least sharing it. So when people say, man, the reason why this and that and the other, because we're not doing our job. And it only take one. It only take one little spark, It take one spark for some people to make something happen, and boom, the floodgates open. So I love y'all, man, and thank y'all for your time. I'm going to keep coming at y'all until I go back to AZ, and I'm going to keep giving y'all love. But to be honest, man, we trying to monetize this teaching so we can really do something in the city of Flint or whatever state we choose. I had a brick and mortar in Arizona, and I had it operating for a whole year with my own dollars. Now I see we can own something, and we are tax exempt for the federal government, all of us, and nobody's lifestyle will change. No one's lifestyle will change, If everybody is okay when you get to a point to give, just imagine, y'all, if we had 300 people giving $100 a month, that's $360,000 tax exempt dollars a year. And that might not be a lot to a lot of people. They be like, man, that ain't nothing. I can give you $1,200 right now. I can give you $2,400 right now. Just give me a tax exempt receipt because I got people that rock with me like that. I don't have enough, and then I don't have a lot of stuff coming in consistently. But if everybody was donating when they come to Sunday school and adapt class, no matter how much or how little, but just imagine if we had 300 people donating $100 a month, I'll go buy something. And then I'll say this is what it costs to keep the lights on. And with the people giving that, everything could go to building. We'll never be stopped. And all we'll do is grow. Then say if we double that up, then we have a $700,000 a year operation. Hell, and then if it grow a little bit more to that, man, we a multi-million-dollar operation, and everybody get a tax exempt receipt, and nobody life change. Because I guarantee you, if everybody's working and doing okay, if it's husband and wife, I know most people blow $1,200 a year on. And I'm not saying you can't do nothing or whatever you want with your money, but I'm sure people we can do something. If 300 people was okay giving $100 a month, that's $360,000 tax exempt dollars a year. That's $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. No, but y'all, if y'all heard me this morning on the phone with the guy with the land, we getting ready to get more land. We already own 10 acres, and we're trying to do a co-op garden with people, and everybody can get their partial of unit in our greenhouse, and everybody growing their own thing, and we can put a structure on there where we have conventions because we can build on 60% of our land. So we want to put our nice little structure on it so we can be there meeting, have community meetings, and have our garden. And then we getting like 3 more acres. So you got two lots, and then another, we probably get it in the next week when I get back to AZ. You got 2 acres here, 2 acres here, then 1 acre there. And so we're going to develop that, put our modular homes on it, or our trailer rail car homes, preferably our Amish style log cabins or our dope modular homes, double wides, not no cheap stuff. They beautiful. 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, and we have it on there. And we're going to have animals and everything. Yep. And I know where to buy, man, remember, I live in Arizona, y'all. I live to buy horses, chickens, sheep, cattle, everything. My homeboy be when I used to stay in Litchfield Park in Arizona. These people I know, they do horseback riding for people. They got a whole big garden. Y'all probably see me going live jogging when I used to, me and my empress used to stay on that side of town. They got a big farm with lemon trees, orange trees, grapefruit trees, a big garden. They sell it all over the stores and everything, right in the neighborhood. It's about what? I say it's about an acre or two, maybe. Might even be a whole, it might just be a half an acre, you know? It might be an acre. But we got 10 acres. We got 10 acres. And we come together and I tell everyone, everything is a donation. So everybody get a taxes and receipt. So we control everything and own nothing. This is what I tell people, and you get a taxes and receipt. So it's a donation. You know, that's how you balance what you have to give to Uncle Sam. That's how you would be able to claim exempt forever if you want to. But that's how you balance your, if you're in a high tax bracket and you have no deductions, you're giving all your money to Uncle Sam. And you're not getting no tax return. The government don't give you no money. You're only getting a small tittle of what's been took out your check out of the whole year. So if you make 70, 80, 90, 100 grand without no deductions, you owe Uncle Sam. You got to write Uncle Sam a check every year. But if you donate to your religious and charitable contribution based off what you're making, you offset the money that you got to give Uncle Sam. All you got to do is have a taxes and receipt. And that's how we build infrastructure in our community. That's how we can own things. That's how we can own houses. That's how we own our co-op garden. That's how we own vehicles. That's how we own land. How? We donate. That's community structure. And then once we operate and we can apply for grants, we don't have to pay back if we want to. But we'll be having enough with people donating and stuff. Well, we don't need that. You know? Why? Because we got enough. This is what I keep telling people. I'm like, dude, I've done this. That's why others is winning. They not giving their money to Uncle Sam. They supporting a religious and charitable contribution of their choice. And we supposed to be a community. Why y'all think the Mormon and the Latter-day Saints, they be out there on those bikes and they be going to college? Who you think paying for it? They set paying for it. The Jewish community pay for the Jews to go to school. All you gotta do is look it up. It's certain grants. That's why I be laughing at people. I say, man, I'm part of certain communities. That's just, a lot of people just don't understand that. You know, and there's certain things that we can do. There's certain things that we can control. We can have our own gardens. We can own our own homes under what? A whole different tax status. Our religious entity. Our vehicles will say not for hire, not for profit on the back. Why? And we won't pay no taxes when we get these things. We can get things donated to us. We can operate at a different manifestation. And most people that's working, we giving our money to Uncle Sam, think we getting a tax return. And I educate people on it. And that's why I say it hurt my heart. Because everybody that's working, you know I'm telling the truth. But you think you getting a tax return. Oh, and then you getting your auntie, cousins, baby mama, auntie, baby mama, cousins, sister, nephew, niece, baby mama that got 14 babies and she on Section 8. And you want to use all them kids' social security number to try to defraud the government. You know? And instead of us doing the right thing, we can use that and get a tax exempt receipt. Why? Because we're not getting no tax return. And that's how we build infrastructure. These is facts. And that's how everyone can help. From my friend to everybody on here. Even if you go to a church, how you think the church is going to keep the lights on? The church don't operate off what? Bread? You know? And then if you part of a church and you giving money and you don't get a tax exempt receipt, and if you working in the church doing things and you're not getting in-kind service to offset certain things, then what's the purpose? If that's the case, you might as well support us and watch us build, you know, and be a stakeholder of what we doing. So I love y'all, man. I thank y'all. Support our temple and school. All my information is in our bio. I love y'all. But once again, man, my platform is a safe place. And Brother JB, I'm not going to allow brothers on here with that combative nature. You know, I'm not going to do that. I saw that from the beginning. You know, I saw that from the beginning. And I tell people, this is not no conscious community stuff. This ain't no debating. When I see that, I'll delete you. Why? Because it ain't doing nothing for me. That's what I tell people. Nobody doing nothing for me on this platform. You know, when I say, oh, well, sorry, you know, these are my members and they help keep the lights on and we doing a good thing, that ain't happening. You know, everything I'm doing, Because I got time to do it, and nobody's donating to nothing. So I'm not going to allow nobody to be disrespectful on my platform. You can go to your own platform with that. And it's the last time I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm going to start just deleting people. Why? Because it means nothing to me. And I'm going to say it with my heart. People pick off scraps off the ground to give to me. And then I bless them with a lot. People give scraps off the ground to give to me. I'm saying it like that. I don't give a damn what nobody say. People they look around, oh, give me some scraps, and then I give people everything what they ask for. How? Because that's how people do. And I don't charge on wisdom, but people give me scraps, and I give them everything what they ask for. And then I say, I'm doing you a solid because I don't have to do it. I tell people do it on their own. But I know my library is so extensive, and a lot of stuff that I converted to ebooks, you're not gonna find them. I know this, and I know people give me pennies, for donations, and I give them everything they ask for. And can't nobody tell me no different. Why? Because I give a junkie or somebody $10. And I'm just saying it like that. Why? Because it's nothing. I do that every day. With no thought. I don't give no thought to that. So when a person tell me they want to give me a donation for something, and I ain't counting no dollar, but I say, I ain't giving nobody no $10. Something I give away to somebody. For me, I'm giving somebody at least 50. Why? Because I respect what you're doing. I want to give you a donation, and then let me get some of the wisdom, because the wisdom I done looked up, I know how much it costs. A brother gave me a $5 donation. I gave him an ebook that cost $5,000. Somebody that I know him was like, Sheik, your heart's so big. He was like, this Negro gave you $5 for that. He was like, that's sad. And that's how I tell, but that's what I get from misnomer black people. I don't get this when I go to colleges and when I deal with the other community. That's why I say this, and I'll be honest. I said I'm doing this is because I love it, but it don't happen with me like that. People give me pennies, and I accept everything, and I give people everything that they want. I can name books that I done gave people, a list of books, and somebody say, well, how much the donation a person gave you? And I say, how much a donation a person gave you? I say $10, and they'll say, for all that sheet? They're like this, and I show them the email. They say they'll say this Negro asked for this. One book a person asked me for, Russian Icons, is worth like a couple grand. Another book, Atlantis of the Latter Days, like a couple grand. Melanin, a chemical key to black greatness, costs about $1,700. It's in my bio. Everything is in my bio. That's what I tell people. All you got to do is look in my bio. Look in my bio. All my info is in my bio. If a person's serious, they want to donate. And my email is on there. You said, that's all I be telling people. All my info in my bio. You said, respect, you gave me some books that would have cost me way more than it would be donation. But I appreciate that. I'm not looking for, but I will fight to get peace. And I look out for everyone. I got a whole library that was stuff people ain't never heard of in their entire life. Why? Because I know I got a whole Gnostic library of everything. I got databases, like it's stuff that people never heard about. Like I bet y'all never seen this. And then I can burn all the books up and teach every book from chapter to chapter. From chapter to chapter. Like DMT, the spirit molecule, all of the giants, all the books about the giants that's in the Smithsonian Museum that you will hear people talking about on TikTok. Okay, Empress, I'm about to get off in 1 second, so I'm finna call you. I've been on here for 2 hours. I have a full functioning library. You don't have to go to no underground library or none of that. I have a full functioning library on everything. And that's why I say I'm glad my time is almost over, dealing with people, that I've been talking to for years. One of my homies said, Sheik, you've been talking to the wrong people. And once I came to the realization, I'm like, God damn it, I am. I said, you know what? I am. I'm talking to the wrong freaking people. Why? Because I be dealing with people, they be trying to have a pissing contest with me, knowing they ain't doing poo diddly or on the level that we doing, or no other organization do it. And I try to teach people and show them the way, and it be falling. And it's all ego with our people. You ask the people what they got the experience in, they be talking about, well, they make money, they do this, man. No. So I know people give me pennies off the ground for what I have to offer. And I went in debt, hundreds and thousands, before I was introduced to a society where they covered a lot of my schooling. And they were just contingent on me to teach them and come to their mouths and teach sometimes. That's why I said the European is going to agree with me. Every European Mason that's a Scottish Rite Mason, I get to let the light out. And that's not disrespectful. That's paying homage because they a son of a Muslim and I'm the daddy. No matter if you like what I'm saying or not. You don't have to like nothing I'm saying. If you see any European that you think heavy, I bet you they know me. And I bet you they say, oh, yes, we respect Sheik. We respect his ism. And they say they have to respect all nobles because it's in their charter. I bet you that. I bet you that. I bet you that. I bet you the only reason why we misnomer is because these gatekeepers, these Freemasons and these Greek fraternities, and these people that done took an oath not to tell you the truth. I bet you that. I don't care what nobody say. A lot of people, aunties and mamas are Eastern Stars, and they under the DAR, which is the Daughter of American Revolution. That's where the marriage license come. That's a third party, you know, somebody in your contract. And just like the misnomer Prince Hall Masons, them sisters under that European leadership too, with all due respect. And it's the DAR. You'll see the European ladies wearing the white fez with the gold tassel. No disrespect. I'm just keeping it 100. That's why I say the only people that's keeping us subjugated is our own people. I'm going to continue to say it. Why? Because all my European colleagues, they're sons of Muslims. They'll tell you this. They not no widow son. They sons of Muslims. Our own brothers, Masons, will tell you that they some widow son. And they'll be in a pulpit that's Freemasons teaching a different science that they'll teach in the lodge with their so-called brothers. You know it and I know it. So I'm going to stand on what I'm standing on. I'm going to stand on it. Just like Steve Coakley said, the Greek is a fraud. I'm going to stand on it. I don't care how nobody feel. I don't care how nobody feel, and ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Why? Because most of these people took an oath not to tell the truth, and the other man is standing right next to me and say, "You darn tootin' Sheik, you're darn tootin' Sheik." They'll stand right with me, and they'll be like, "It ain't nothing you can do." I'm talking about judges, politicians, prosecutor, attorneys. They're staying right next to with me. Why? Because they sons of Muslims. The joke of masonry is not them. The joke of masonry is the misnomer black man. I'm telling y'all that took an oath not to tell the truth. Can't be mad at me. The Eastern Stars wear a white fez with a gold tassel. They wear a white fez with the gold tassel. Noble. If the sun wear a black tassel, that means a different set. But the Eastern Stars, they wear a white fez with a gold tassel. Because the white fez with the gold tassel represents that birth cycle. That white fez with the gold tassel represents that birth cycle, that mundane ball. See, that's what these sisters not gonna tell you. They under the DAR. They under the, no disrespect, the European, just like the Prince Hall brothers is. You research, I show you in Memphis how them Prince Hall brothers was trying to beg them, no disrespect, for educational purposes only, to beg the European Mason to accept their charter. You know what they said? No. Why? Because they don't respect the misnomer black man. I told y'all, these is facts. Look up what I'm saying. You will see the Prince Hall Masons, the PHO and the PHA, they'll be playing a game. Y'all saw them on my page. One dude was trying to say the difference from PHA and PHO, and then I just act like I was stupid. I did double talk, and what happened? Hangman. I told him, and people be like, why are you messing with Sheik? And knowing damn well he got your charter. And that's what I be telling people, stop playing. I got your charter. I know you playing a game. I know you under the other man. I know you have a potentate. I know the other man is your daddy. And the one that you call your daddy is my son. That's why they gotta wear that's why they wear the fez and defile. That's how they do business. These is facts. I'm telling you, these is facts, man. And so I don't care how no one feel, you know, especially no melanated person that's gonna jump on my page playing. I don't have no problem with no one else. Why? Because I'm on a different level than most of these people on here playing this more science stuff. It's way deeper than that for me. This is my life and this is my culture. And so when I tell people, the only people that done this is if our other brothers was a charter per se, Sheik. A charter is when on paper, when you can say how a person is established and the tenets and the ordinance of what they abide by. So like in my charter, like in the Moorish Science Charter for all Sheiks, all Masons and everything have to honor true Muslims. That represents what they represent with no spot and blemish. They respect all true Muslims. And in my charter, it's the same as theirs. Just like the Quran, they under certain tenets and ordinance. I'm sorry. I'm sorry what people be saying. Everything is structure. And if you don't understand that, and I'm not saying you, Noble, and if a lot of these people don't understand structure, they always give it to the other man. And a copy copied you. Everything the Vatican copy everything the way our charter is set up and the way my charter is set up under theocracy. And so my charter is the way I do business. Just like I have a charter with my security, armed or unarmed. The muftis of Allah. All we have to do is get a certain permit, and we can go anywhere, just like any other group. You know, we just get a permit. Why? Because we have a charter. We a fraternal order. The Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. We have our own bylaws. You know, and then I'm part of other groups. I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. That's why I be looking at people like, man, I'm just gonna let you keep going and keep going. And then the stuff you're saying really is meaningless to me. Because I know most people don't know what they're talking about. Why? Because of my affiliation. And I'm transparent. That's why. And it's just the facts, you know? You say word, so that's why Europeans that look, watch what you say. You say word, so that's why. Hold on, I'm sorry, JD. You said word, so that's why when Europeans that look at them as Muslim sons pay homage to you and other righteous Moors. Yes, I told y'all a European that used to be trolling everyone. They used to call themselves Swindle King Hoodwink. See, a lot of names I don't say, but if I say things, people are like, yeah, he used to be trolling Moors. You say facts, but they not listening. I know they not listening. That's why I said I'm gonna be done. I'm official. You want to donate to some official, you know? You say, well, that's why they pay homage to you and other righteous Moors. Yes, because they have to. It's in their charter. And so the one dude that jumped on my page one day was like, you a black this. And I said, I ain't one of them dudes that be on social media playing dude. I ain't, what's the dude name? I forget. They be saying library, the light-skinned dude, the traveling more. I ain't him. I ain't none of that. I ain't drop out of school in the 12th grade and all that. So when you come on my page and other people that be on my platforms, because I got like 3 platforms up, and then my professors, that's Scottish Rite Masons in Arizona, people don't be knowing all the platforms I have up. And then they jump in their inbox and they say, oh, you a Mason in Indiana? Or you charter this? And then they get scared and they be like, they jump back on social media and they say, well, I'm not going to respect all righteous nobles that represent this. And that's, how can I say, the real rose and the cross, but I will still talk about those that talk this sovereign citizen stuff, yeah. And they made him cut his damn beard off. I'm telling you. So I'm just keeping it 100. None of this stuff, none of it means nothing to me. You know, and that's why I tell people I don't get disrespect by no other man or nothing like that. I don't have to say when I talk about, how can I say, anti-Semitic, and I say, well, that's a made-up word, and I use lay books. I don't have to go back and apologize of nothing I said, because everything I say is scholarship, and I can stand on it, because I use the encyclopedias. I done this in academia. That's why. You know? And so what you say, Brother Bay, they not listening. And I said, I know most brothers, they don't listen. And that's why we'll never have nothing. With all due respect. That's why we never have nothing. You look at all these people on page that follow me, you'll be like, man, these people on here acting crazy. And that's why we don't pay. Most of our people don't pay homage. That's why Dr. Ben died poor and broke. Dr. Ben died in a senior living home. Y'all saw how he was all decrepit and all that when he passed. Dr. John Henry Clark couldn't even get surgery. And he been blind on things, didn't have to. Why? Because these brothers don't be having the resources, and they be so great. These brothers written so many books. How all these brothers wrote all these many books? Who was the publishing companies? They ain't make the money off of it, just like Credo Matua. How David Icke, the European, got rich off interviewing Credo Matua. They stole his jury of the aliens and everything and tried to misquote his books. I have all our elders' libraries. I have all our elders' libraries. And then I be showing you all this stuff on social media. I've been showing this stuff for years. You know, with all due respect. And everybody know I'm solid. You know? And so, once again, if I was some rogue Moor or someone that wasn't righteous, man, that would have had me handcuffs in Arizona, because Arizona is a red state. And I get nothing but respect in Arizona. And before I was living in the city, I used to live in Tucson. And my suit store was in, what was that? Mesa, Arizona. And I used to be doing lectures at my store. You can go on my YouTube channel, some of the beginning of my YouTube stuff, you will see me at my store. You will see me selling suits and talking to regular people in love, represent this Moorish science. 24 hours, 7 days a week. 24 hours, 7 days a week, me and my Empress. 24 hours, 7 days a week, going and mentoring kids, all different backgrounds and cultures with my turbans and my fez on. I ain't changing myself. For what? I am me. And that's what I tell people, man. But once again, I really need y'all help. You know, if y'all want to donate, I use a Venmo at BBT Science Temple, Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple. I'm also on PayPal.me/IBNAELBEY7. And then I also use Zelle, and that's connected to my office number. That's in my bio. It's 602-473-8767. So everybody should know how to support. Everybody should know how to support. Everybody should subscribe to our YouTube channel, Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. But I love everyone once again, y'all. And it's a certain way that we gotta start respecting our elders and sharing it. And that's the only way the algorithm will pick up. And once again, I love y'all and peace.